Yeah.
people still go out and enjoy themselves, right? But I think like it's just the subculture and the mindset a lot like out here in a sense is different because like even in Toronto, I see like grown folks going out and enjoying it. Out here, you hit 22, you're considered grown. Like you know, like it's like you're old now. Like I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
kidding me? Like you
Those
know, like,
dinosaurs that want to keep on rocking. And
yeah, right. Like I mean, like it blows my mind. Like I mean, and then like they're saying it's because like you know Edmonton is a younger city, like you're from the age 18 to 30 or like 45. But it still blows my mind just like the concept of it. Like when I'm in Winnipeg or like Toronto or Montreal or any of that, I look over and I see grown ass folks like myself just partying, like enjoying their shit.
Oh yeah, and
You
I
know
guess
what I
if
mean?
you have a scene that's healthy enough that everybody doesn't know each other yet,
Yeah.
because when we get talking subculture, I mean that's where I'm from.
The
with
sub,
a lot
yeah.
of
The subculture
stuff
pieces.
I hang out with.
Yeah.
But I mean, see a lot of these scenes, if they're small scenes, you know, in 10 years, the scenes are always consuming themselves. Whether you got kids that are, say, back in the day, trashing a hall show, all that stupid stuff, or kids coming in with too much attitude at first night in a new joint. Like I had to deal with that,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even a big thing, but it was enough where they were like, "Hey, this ain't cool. We don't want this here." So people got to mind their manners, the scenes, and it's funny because you give any scene 6 years, and now how many people
Or
got
still-
their ex with another dude over there, and this
Yeah.
guy, and they're watching this guy's kid. It gets all mixed up, and then that also gets a lot of people out because you don't have a sea of people. You know, you get 20 people, and they all been hanging out for
quite some time. No,
That's a small factor.
Yeah, but I just find that like you know what I mean like it's you know like we have to promote it stronger.
Oh, for
but
sure.
still kind of keep it in like I always look at like the process of the whole layout is like as a family. You know what I mean? Like you have your hip hop, you have your rock, you have your punk rock, you have your country. Like everybody lives in the same house.
Oh, you bet.
Because at the end of the day, we're still going to the same bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like it's like you know like so like which is the family table when we sit.
Yeah.
You know and you know like how the increase of that.
Well,
you know
the
what I mean?
city, like you were saying, if the
Mhm.
city's in charge of that house, it would be neat to see the city actually.
Like help to like no, because I know like for instance the project that the city libraries is doing.
Oh yeah.
Right, and they were doing like production like pieces to it and stuff like that, and like the head lady, like we were chit chat. She's from Victoria, and she's like, the reason why I live on White Ave is because it reminds me of Victoria, and I really never thought about that.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, it's like you can do your shopping. The buildings are flat. You know, you can, you know, it's just like it's a reflection of
Yeah,
home.
it's as close as we can get here.
Exactly, right? and so I was like, okay, that's pretty dope.
Also
you know?
better in the 90s.
Like, you know, and but it's just like, and she's saying that like a couple like cities in the States have mimicked what they're doing here, what they started here with production in the library there, like Portland and like and further down in California, and so I'm there chit-chatting. I'm like the libraries are partly government funded, correct? So I'm like, yeah, like so I'm like, well, there you go. Like these guys are willing to do such things. Why aren't they willing to step in and you know what I mean, like help branch the city, in a sense, you know what I mean? Like you know, but again, you know, it takes more than one pieces to the puzzle.
Cool.
It also takes good business ethics. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of time when from a business side of things we get successful, we forget. You know, and I think that's one of the things that we have to truly reinvest back, like right back into the community, right back into like try to build as much as we can of it. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? Because like, you know, again, like guys always ask me, like for instance for us, like, what are you still doing in Edmonton? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not just gonna get up and walk away, like, you know, like screw you guys, right?
Yeah, not when I got shit booked.
Exactly, exactly. You know what I mean? But you know, the kids are here, And like just like my friends and family and just like all the details are here, and it's not like that I don't love my province. I want my province to show that we have a lot of talent, and like talent comes in so many different forms, right?
Yeah.
But it's a willingness to say, you know what, we got to stick it out and invest in us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and so, that's one of my main thing. Like like I look at the scene now, and from the perspective that I see, there's so much more artists. Like so much more artists, but yet still a lot of these artists don't they still haven't understand the full business of it, and I find that's one of the danger to it. Like if you're an artist and you're coming out but you don't understand the business ethic of it,
Yeah.
and a lot of time, like I'll find guys who's like, "Fuck you, you gotta pay me," what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
And I'm like, it's not like, okay, cool. Like, I mean, but if you don't understand the process, sometimes you got to give to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to promote your project, and that is your payment in a sense. So you guys got to understand and learn, like, the value of that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, have you run into that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure he's run into it a lot too. We'll get Dan in here.
Have you run into that?
Well, talking about looking out for the up and coming bands, so like when you're booking with an agent, it's almost impossible to get a local support on sometimes. And if you do, to get more than $100, $150 to pay that support act, it isn't going to happen. The agent will never agree to it.
Yeah.
But then the show sells out, and then that opening artist feels maybe more entitled to more than $100 because the show did well. But like that's not the agreement and what the contract was signed on with the agent. So I think to better solve that, you just got to be transparent with the artist. Like, this is how the show works. If they don't know, this is like the money that you're entitled to. Like, these are the responsibilities. You got to promote the show. But yeah, I think there can be that misconception of how business is done. But a reminder that music is a business sometimes, and you gotta know how it plays out.
To navigate that, right?
Yeah.
No, because it's just like sometimes guys tell me stories, and I'm like, okay, I get that, like, but like it's like you gotta approach the promoters properly. Like, not all the time a promoter wanna fuck you. Pardon my language, but I mean a lot of times these guys.
That's what a lot of bands think, though. Like, it's funny because, like I also play in two bands. I've also been playing shows since, like, 2004. So
Yeah.
I've also played tons of shows. We've drove our ass out to Lethbridge, show up somewhere, and, like, the bar was doing good that night. So they were like, okay, no show. Because they seemed to have a big crowd of people who didn't want to watch bands. So there was a band, we were coming from Edmonton, another guy came from Calgary, like two bands from Calgary.
Oh, okay.
Promoter meet us in the parking lot. So the bar that probably thought they weren't going to be busy that night, oh yeah, we'll have a show. They turned out to be busy, and the owner said, well, we're making money. We're not going to drive everyone out with these crazy bands. So, I mean, the poor promoter, he's out there shelling out $40 to each band, saying, oh, sorry, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're a rough crowd, but everyone was just like, okay, I mean, what are you going to
We
do?
get it. Yeah.
Start a protest, hang out till tomorrow? We want to play,
Yeah.
we'll have our show in your parking lot. Like, what you were talking about too, like, the way, when you get the artists and you get the promoters and all this, like, see, we got the pieces, but it's putting the pieces together. And I think a lot of artists and bands who haven't tried to put on a show themselves,
Yeah.
they don't really understand the promoters. And like me, it's funny because I've run a bar, I've played in a band, I get every angle. I've been on every end of the shoot
Yeah.
when it comes down to the do-re-mi.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get a lot of guys, they think it's the promoter's job to tell everybody. It's like, no, if you're playing and you can bring 10 buddies, you're going to make more money than you're going to make expecting me to bring your 10 buddies that I don't know. So you get a lot of guys, they're almost ashamed of promoting themselves. Oh, my friends see my band all the time. He watches us jam. He's not going to pay for our show. There's a lot of that. Almost an apathy.
The negative stigma.
Or it's like the legendary show where every band thinks the other band's bringing the drum kit. And at the end of the day, nobody brought it because everyone thinks the other guy's friends are going to be there. Everyone thinks the other band's going to be telling everyone to go.
Yeah.
Like they want to hop on a bill that's already full. And that's when we were talking about like cats showing up late. You know, they want to show up at 11:30 when it's bumping. It's like it ain't been bumping.
The late comers.
Yeah, because
Like,
I mean the night could have been bumping since 8 o'clock. If the guy said, "Hey, I'm going at 8 o'clock. Why don't you come hang out and we'll have a few drinks before I perform?"
Yeah.
But now you got this texting and you got this Facebook. Well, when exactly are you going on?
Going on, yeah. That's,
You know, in and out. Oh,
I find that to be one of the most ridiculous pieces, because people will, like, there's young artists, and say, for instance, you know, sometime I'll, like, when I put on a show, guys are like, what time do I go on?
yeah.
And, like, most of the time, I just want to say, you're not going on. Like, fuck you. Or, like, you mean, put my language. Because, like, it's like, it actually pissed me off, because, like, they don't want to come out to support the other acts that's on the bill. And then when they do, as soon as they're done, they want to leave. Right? And I told them, I'm like, when you go to work, you don't just get up and leave. Like, if work is not done. You know what I mean? Like, you're coming to a show, you're a part of this, like a collage of artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, stick around until it's completed.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
gotta support your peers.
Yeah, yeah, support yours, and in return they'll support you back, right? So that's the thing, right? But again, like the latecomers love, you know, like if they're not late, they got shitty attitude. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about a lot of hip hop acts. I'm
Right.
talking about a lot of like rock acts, like guys that I've seen. And I'm like, yeah, you guys have some shitty ass attitude. Like, I don't care if you're an artist. Like, fuck, I'm an artist.
No.
But my ass is trying to be there before like the time.
But they got to look at that time as time to network.
Exactly.
Because I always tell bands for sure, like, if you ever want to play a show out of Edmonton,
Yeah.
you hear of bands coming up from Calgary or bands coming up from Toronto, BC, those are the shows.
You
If you
wanna
got a
be
band from a place you want to be, like say if you're a rapper, you want to get out to Montreal, you want to get to Toronto.
Yeah.
Now, if I have an artist coming in Montreal, Toronto, and you got a kid sitting at home being like, man, I'd love to go play there. Well, why don't you guys come to the guy's show, be there early, maybe meet the guy,
Have a conversation.
make a contact. I always call it building bridges.
Exactly.
So I've got buddy bands is another one of my terms where say if a band from Calgary comes up, guys from Edmonton open for them, they get along. Maybe next time around I'm going to tell the Calgary band, hey, how about you put these guys on at Vern's, I'll put you on at DVA. And then years
Exactly.
later you get these bands still working together.
Yeah.
But it's that underground railroad kind of
The relationships.
thing where
ability.
you got those stops and you got
Exactly.
those friends that are going to let you sleep on their couch after the show. And,
Yeah, like that's the whole point. Like billing, like, and you know, eventually I find that those becomes like a story that actually make you, you know, because it helps your manhood.
well, people got to
You know?
love you.
Yeah, like
You need the love to make it.
People like, I mean, like it just builds so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of time, like also like back to what I was saying about shitty ownerships. Like, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. When you have shitty owners doing shitty things, you know what I mean? Like, these have to be adjusted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I find that eventually, like, I mean, like, my old heads always told me, like, why are you doing a dark? Like, dark will come to light. You know what I mean? So if you do shitty things, it's gonna come to light.
Oh,
and
you bet.
It's gonna disrupt, like, greatness that can be done. You know what I mean? And that comes with the artists also. You know what I mean? Because again, due to the fact that a lot of these artists here don't understand the business end of the industry, like because again, like, you know, like you've been around, I've been around, Jay's been around, like, you know what I mean, like a lot of like us have been around, so we got to seek knowledge and get knowledge, right? But a lot of these guys, they just finish high school and like, I'm gonna just start making music, and there's nothing wrong with just start making music.
No.
But at the same time, like, if I just say, hey, I'm just gonna jump in a car and drive, like, I wonder how much friggin' people I'm gonna hit.
Yep.
Like, if I
It's like the same concept. It's like people being like, I'm going to open a venue.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not wise. I wouldn't advise it to anybody. Like,
Yeah.
I came down, and I mean, when I met my Mrs. Jody, she already had a venue.
Yeah,
So I got in, started throwing on the shows,
yeah,
doing good. But then what happened with us, like, we were at the end of our lease. We were having real trouble with the landlord. And then we really jumped into the fire trying to go bigger.
Yeah. Like
It was a
it's one of
stupid
those-
move. Like what I'm doing now
Yeah.
is I'm outsourcing. I don't have to worry about my rent and
The-
bills and stuff. Like I
Exactly.
did to keep that one on Gateway open, man. I did asbestos removal. Like I was a year and a half at that Charles Camsel doing asbestos, and then like you get out of there, you do a liquor run. Now you're doing sound. You're trying to cook
You're trying-
food.
Yeah.
You're trying to do 5 things at a time, and it's like that was an exhausting
Yeah, you're
couple of
crashing
years.
yourself.
And we still couldn't make it because we weren't the cool
The cool
place to be because we weren't making enough money to have food. And
Yeah.
anything you don't have, you're going to hear it from the guys that come out twice a year. Oh, you need more lights. Oh, you should get a better PA. Oh, I wish you had a kitchen.
Oh,
You
yeah.
never see
Don't
these
you love
guys,
those guys?
but they love to walk in and tell you everything you need to be doing. And that's another problem with the scene because, like, what people seem to really want is like a fucking Earls with bands in it.
Like,
You're not going to get that.
no.
Like, you could try, but I mean, for certain types of music, it doesn't work because you're going to have that same vibe
Over and
over and over. Like I can see a few at a hip hop club, good food.
Yeah.
But I mean, a place that always played. It's not something new.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to have a place in town that I could work with that had somewhere where it was always kind of that vibe. Crowds coming there for that. Because with my bar, we had to kind of. It was like a chameleon. You have to, you know, where metal on a night, where punk is on a punk night, or hip hop on a hip hop night. That was good though, because we didn't have regulars. Really. Our regulars came before the bands, because most of our regulars spent all their money before the bands got there. The bum all lucky off, and then back up in the street, right?
Yeah. It's super intense, like, you know, just the different values of it. You know what I mean? Because like I just look around and I see like the different scenes where, you know, like and it always just blows my mind like how the struggle here musically and the struggle like because the Edmonton struggle reflects like Calgary at the same time, you know, because like Edmonton normally have stronger music scene. You know, and I think that's just the older city, like a lot more established, like grimier, like word music.
Oh, Calgary's tough too.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Calgary's tough, but it's just like more so like all the guys I know, like look to Edmonton for that, like.
No, Edmonton's always had very firm and a lot of good artists,
And
it's been done right over the years by a few places.
Yeah, right, and it's, you know, like I'm very, I just, like right now, like in my journey, I'm looking to see, like how, you know, the next step you take to like branch it and build and just kind of like a certain pieces system, you know, where we want to reach big things. But we have to do more clever, smart.
Yeah, we gotta allow things to grow.
Exactly, right? Like, you know, like I look around and it's like, I see like the patios are now bigger. It's like, all right, yeah, one patio guys, it's up, right?
Yeah.
It's like such small things,
Yeah.
but it's like, all right, we're gonna loosen up. Like I go honestly, like I'll go like Montreal, like there's a night festival, like you know, and in my head, like. What's wrong with that here? What's wrong with doing music outdoor at night time? Like when because it's like winter you can't. So you think that like no, you know like you think that will be open to like okay guys, summer hit. Yeah, you go. Just go for a while until September. Then we can just really calm down when we need to.
Well, like Interstellar Rodeo, they end at 10 because of the noise bylaw that takes in effect at 11, so they give themselves kind of an hour buffer. Same thing when I do an indoor hall show. I have to worry about what the property line with decibel reading is going to be because I could get shut down for being too loud. So I think it's about being in the right community where people aren't going to care as much about those, where if you're in an all business area, maybe in a bigger city, or if you're in a community that embraces those types of nightlife things, that's a lot easier to get by. If someone's going to be like, oh, it's too loud, I don't want to watch TV or something, it's going to shut down your whole
But
life.
that's what I mean, like, just, it's kind of funny. I look at that as in like, the driving while you're on your phone bit, right? Like 1 minute it was good, like I remember we were kids, it's like, oh, whatever, you can drive, you know, like you're lost, or it's like, call direction, right? Now, if you're looking at our direction, like, I'm gonna call the cops or something like,
yeah.
you're a bad guy here. So, you know, like, and people like, oh my God, like this. But it's like, it's a part of like, it's a part of like, the brainwashing culture, where it's like, you can't rebel, you must do such and such, right?
Yeah.
And I get that the law needs you have to follow certain things in the law. But at the same time, it's like, hey, would you mind if we go a little bit out here in the park? You know what I mean? Like I remember when we were young, we used to shoot basketball, and then these guys would come and try to get us out of the park. They got a bunch of young kids playing the sport, minding their own business, and now you want to root us out.
They're gonna roll up.
To go get proud. Then we're gonna be cause trouble. Like our hands will be idle.
Yeah.
We're gonna get fucking beers, and we're not old enough to get the bar. So what we're gonna do? Fucking break people's car, fucking throw bottles, like do dumb shit. You know, or you can just let us be until we decide like we're tired, let's fuck home. You know, and that's what when it comes to like the music piece. You know, like it's like we have to now we have to think different. Like I get that be like you know like oh no it's okay cool. But I like but if you're doing something whether it's a 2-day piece of puzzle or whether it's like a couple different like we on the weekend when it's hot out. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I mean I truly like we need to like restructure like how we think about that. You know what I mean? Because like you know like Montreal again. You know, like I go with my friend Jim from here, he lives out there, and he's like, yeah, let's go to the night market. Like this is fucking like 6 o'clock in the morning. Like this place, I get my free foods and I get my fresh foods from work. And I was like, what? You guys have this shit here? And then like, what's wrong with us? Like, summertime and everything. And he's like, well, son, I just like it boggled my mind because again, this is Canada. You know, like if they can do it over there, why can't we do it? We're supposed to be the belly of it all. You know what I mean? Where the money is.
This is supposedly what is
Exactly,
that?
right? So why can't we like use our intelligence and become better at these things, you know? Like and you know, be art-wise. You know, like it drives me nuts in that sense, right? Where it's just like my mind cuts because I believe that we can do so much better. And at the same time, I find that do we have to, in order to increase the systems we're talking about, like do we have to go to the, because there's a council of arts, aren't they?
Yep. Edmonton Art Council.
No, like I'm saying on that sits in the board. Like on city council, one of the city council levels, aren't they directly issuing arts? Or I know there's a provincial guy that does art and culture and like a visitation.
I went to something where it was like they were attending some arts.
Check no, because it drives me. It's good. Oh, I guess my damn computer. But like, you know, no, but like it drives me nuts in that sense because I was like, aren't these guys supposed to be like coming to the community and having a conversation,
Coming up with ideas.
guys, and you know, we all can sit and build like a bridge, you know, where it's gonna be like beneficial for not just the scene, but like the future ecosystem. I remember like a few years back when the George was coming here, like these guys were like, all right, you know, like they didn't want to help all of us. It's like you know, it's like yeah, we're gonna help you guys. And I'm like, oh, now you want to help? Because you know, like come here, so you want to act like there's this going on here, like
Like
Expo
Expo 86.
Which is politically in their favor to care about it. You know, like when the news are coming or when it's re-election time, and all of a sudden those issues are more prevalent because they need the votes.
Yeah, like that. It drives me like it drives me nuts. But I see like you know that part because at the end of the day, it's about how can we like increase our value. You know what I mean? Like, how can we basically, like, increase the venues, like, I mean, and start making, like, I mean, like, and help the artists to become greater, so in return, they can help us. You know, like, that's the one thing, like, I mean, and I know as we said, like, it's just like, on the life side of things, how does it affect your life? Because you're busting your ass out there.
Yeah, like, I think maybe Dan might know something about this. I remember hearing a little while back, it was something that the city said they were going to do. Did you ever hear there was something where they said they were gonna allow music venues to stay open
Till 3.
till 3, and that would increase the sales for struggling venues, that would have people coming out of live shows after the cab frenzy? Like, when I heard that, I thought, wow, this is actually gonna do something for music. Like, I thought the city was having like an idea that
That's
kind of
something
work,
fresh.
because the thing shows go a little later. Like, say if your bands are, you know, say you could have, because a lot of people, for whatever reason, they don't think it's cool to be there
Just show
till
up.
10, 11.
Yeah.
And then
like,
time is the big one with shows. You got these guys want it to start at 8, these guys want it to start at
and that's
11.
the issue, right? With a lot, like, sorry for cutting you off with a lot of those
No
things.
worries.
But I remember in Winnipeg when we were there for the awards, like, I went to the bar. The bar opened at 10. I went to the bar at 10:30, and the place was packed. And it was like, you know, like walking into a time warp. Like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah, like
you know,
you're
this does happen. Like, you know, like,
yeah.
and they're like, yeah, like, we come on time. For some reason, fucking Edmontonians, like, you know, and these guys will wait until half an hour, rush through the door, want to buy 30 drinks, suck it back. And there's nothing wrong with buying your drinks and coming, but, you know, I would love for them, again, to show up earlier.
Yeah.
Because I think that helps just, you know what I mean, and what you were saying earlier, like, it's about basic networking, building relationships.
Well, it's more of an event, right? It's anything could be an event if you make an event out of it.
Very true.
If we had everybody thinking, because if you see me at one of my shows, like,
Yeah.
I have a sound guy now, so I'm not stuck behind the board. If you see me at one of my shows, I spend a lot of my time outside.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm doing my networking. If you got a guy and he sees another guy up on stage and he's looking at that stage being like, man, I want to get up there.
Yeah.
I want to catch that cat when he's having a smoke and say, well, when do you want to get up there? What month are you free?
Exactly.
But see, bands should be doing that too. Oh, I love your stuff. I'd like to do a show with you. We should set something up. We should call.
Well, that's how I met, like, my man there, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Lenz. And that's how I met, like, and that's so, like,
Yeah, the
I
music
met you,
community,
like,
right?
Because, exactly, like, conversating, like
we know.
chit-chat. Exactly, right?
We know the shit.
You know, and that's, you know, the main thing that still blows my mind, because, like, a lot of time, like, you know, like, artists have their, like, issy fits with each other. And
Yeah.
half the time, I'm like, lay off that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they don't know how to mix, and they're not there to mix.
yeah, right?
You
Like,
know?
I mean, like, the concept is to build. You know what I mean? Like, now you're fucking your girlfriend problem. Like, you're young. You're gonna have an ex-girlfriend at some point. You know what I mean? Like, I see guys like, I'm mad at him because you looked at my, I'm like, God, you know, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know, you're not married. You don't have kids with this woman. Like, keep moving. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what it
Yeah,
is.
the lease is up. Move on.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like, you know, like, it's just like, it's just the factor of this, you know.
Yeah.
But again, like, I strongly feel that, you know, like, it comes down to the culture, right? It comes down to how we can shift the culture into believing in
Yeah.
itself. You know what I mean? Like, and I've seen it. Like, it's funny. Like, Toronto. Like, when Toronto music was going, like, for hip hop, for instance, not a lot of people believed in it. You know, like, a lot of guys are like, oh, whatever, those guys suck, they're Canadian, like, you know, but artists kept on continuously coming. Vancouver was the same thing. You know, they kept on coming, you know, like, and they have it so much now that, you know, like, they can stand on their own proudly, you know, and they believe back not just in their artists, but also in the marketing, the promotion, and all that stuff. Out here, for some reason, we're still scared to believe in Alberta. Like, it's different when it comes to the sports, because when you go to an Eskimo game, even when the Eskies are shit in the bed, you have, like, the diehard fans there, like, that will always go. Like
Well,
I
see,
got
that's unity, right? They got that unity,
Exactly.
but where's the unity in the music?
in the, mu- that,
The
that's,
music
and
scene.
that's what I'm saying. But it's because it's the culture of it.
Yeah.
It's the belief no matter what, whether we're losing or whether we're winning, it's
Yeah.
still that Eskimo culture. Because like a lot of my buddies, like they'll go, and even when it's rain, these guys stand up at the fucking railing. Like they're like the railing family. That's what they're like, yeah, these guys are our family for football time, right? I was like, what? I don't even go to that damn game. Like, I mean, but they have fun. Yeah, I mean, and that's, I believe, where we have to kind of look kind of into that process
Oh, for sure.
to
Yeah.
build it in a sense, because again, it's like it shows success like on the unity process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Like,
if
and-
they treated our artists and musicians like they treat the sports teams.
Yeah, like no, but that's what I'm saying.
You know?
It's the building of it, but it comes down to like, again, when you look at a sport athlete, he's always talking great about like the team
Always, yep.
or the organization or all that. You look at an artist, don't get me wrong, artistry is supposed to express the reality and what's going on, but 99% of the time, like, if they don't understand the concept and the business of it, they're crashing and they're burning. And that's where, again, like, I mean, like, we have to, as a whole, as in, like, being, like, promoter-wise, like, I mean, we give them a bit of jewel, you know what I mean, knowledge. But
Yeah.
they also, like, I start giving people that I find that's worthy of it. I'll sit with a guy, and if he's a moron, then I'm like, I can't help this guy. Like,
You're on your own,
like
kid.
he's gonna be like, and it's simple, but a part of me is always scared because a lot of time those guys, again, go into a car blindly and drive it into like whatever else that they see, thinking like they're doing something great, right? And
Yeah.
it damage the scene even more.
Yeah.
And then so you have to come back to that and re-pick that up
Oh,
again.
we haven't even brought up Facebook yet. There's a lot of people driving blind on there, and I've seen a lot of guys like where like, if I'm on there, because I do most of my business on there. That's
Yeah.
where, and I mean whatever. I use it. It's kept me rolling for 10 years. That's
It's-
where people message me for shows and
Exactly.
stuff. But I stopped posting anything but shows.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even that bad before. But I mean, when you get into artists and stuff, you see a lot of dudes, and it is that driving blind. Say someone went and they had a crap show last night, and then they write a 2-paragraph thing about it. Or I've seen kids that are, and especially rappers, and it's funny because you get like these white rapper dudes even, and they're like, I'ma go do this, and they're typing up the big, I got big dreams, and no one's letting me play, and why ain't I on that stage? And then you see like the guy who put on the show being like, on the next line, like, dude, I messaged you 3 days ago. And after this kid makes this big rant, and I've seen that happen. And then, like, sometimes the posts stick around, sometimes the posts will disappear. But you get people now, they'll take a picture of it, and they'll be like,
This is why.
check this out.
Yeah.
Because now everything, like, and it is cool, I guess, in this day and age, the accountability is there.
Yeah.
But, good, bad, but you got to watch your step, like the driving blind
Yeah.
concept. But some people kill their careers with that stuff too,
Facebook
right?
is disastrous.
It is. It's like fire with cavemen. They got to figure out how to use that shit properly. And you better have the wheel first so you can get your ass out of there.
It's super intense though. Like it's.
Oh, I
super,
see so much
super
every day.
intense.
I love the drama. I watch
Like,
it, but I don't
like,
click like on people's shit when
I've
they're
dealt with like,
getting
I always, me as a man, like I speak my truth no matter what. Like there's businesses like venues that I won't fuck with because like how they went about doing business with us before.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And you know what I mean, but I still don't blast it out there.
Oh, I
don't be
never
like,
do.
you son of a bitch. Then I'm like, man, because it's like, okay, well, like you never know. Maybe like they're under different pressure, like so the time will come where we'll see face to face, and if we have a conversation and
Yeah.
reignite some business, we reignite some business, right? But things happen in so many different ways, and again, a lot of these the young artists they use they make emotion drive them.
Oh yeah.
And that's the problem. Like, it's great when
They
you're
don't
creating
filter the shit.
music. Exactly. It's great when you're creating music. It's great when you're basically trying to like talk up your girlfriend to get some loving. You know,
Yeah.
like, hey baby, you know, like you're the best. But but it sucks when you're calling out a fucking promoter based on the fact that
Nobody came
promoter
out.
trying to help you,
Yeah, that,
and you didn't like. I mean, like you didn't want to help yourself. Like I always try to reiterate this over and over and over in your head. Like your friends will come, but after your friends, then what? If you don't go out and market to yourself.
oh,
You know
and you
what I
want
mean?
them to come
It's-
to every show.
Exactly. You but as an artist, you know, we have to push it ourselves. Like that's how it grows. If you're putting out good music and you're promoting it properly and you're willing to go the distance and you're not ashamed to stand up in White Ave and fucking give out some flyer, like you know, like it's like whether two more people come or not, they're still showing up.
No, every person counts.
Exactly, right?
And like another one too for me, like one of my little mottos I do is like with me, I've kept a pretty good reputation from the start because I've always given bands 100% of the door, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing I always try and preach about just the way I do stuff, because I've been outsourcing and I've tried a few venues around town.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things I think when the venue to the promoter to the bands, that whole trickle down, like a big one I find too, is just because a venue's got problems, that doesn't make it everyone else's problems. Those are your problems. So if the band shows up and the promoter's there, because you get places like, they're charging ridiculous amounts of rent. Like say some guy puts together a really good bill, he's got something.
Yeah.
Now he's got to pay $600 to have that something in a room.
Mhm.
Now if he only gets 50 people in that room, he's still got to pay that $600. He's still got to take care of the artists.
Yeah.
And you get some venues that'll just send you walking. Like, there's a
No.
place I work with, and the whole thing about what I made,
Yeah.
it never came up.
Like it's
Like after like 5 shows,
yeah.
it just never came up. You try and bring it up, it just rides, and I'm not gonna hop on anywhere and go blah blah blah. Because what are you gonna do? That makes me look bad. But when you go in and you talk about something, and then at the end of
Yeah.
it, oh, that was good. It's like, okay, well,
Like,
is
just keep
what
it
happens
moving.
now?
Yeah.
No,
No, like
nothing.
and it's like well, that's why like I can say like the rec room's a good place. You know what I mean? And I've done like it differently from dealing with my main man Dan here and yourself. You know what I mean? Like you know, like y'all are magnificent when I do business with y'all. But the rec room I do business with, like and the management there was fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
They've been
Because
doing some
even
good
when I
stuff.
shit in the bed, like if I had a shitty fucking show, I ain't gonna lie. And there were like about that day there was like about fucking I shit you not about maybe 8 shows that's going on, and then people are all camping. And I've learned one thing:
Long weekend.
the long weekend's a fucking bastard. Like
Yeah.
they don't play. Like
You always
the long
get
weekend
the touring bands. They want to play that Sunday.
Yes, like it drives me
And
nuts.
you can't get a local.
like you can't like you can't.
Like every year, I say I'm going to look at my calendar and I'm going to X out.
The long,
They- No, and the place I work with now too, like they do hockey games and shit. So
Yeah.
when I came in right at Oilers season. Well, like, and I'm not a sports guy at all. So
Yeah.
I came in on Oilers season when like they were still kind of in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I started learning the hard way that it's pretty hard to put a friggin' band on the stage when
There's like
when you get all these mustache guys watching a hockey game, right? And like, oh, what, you're gonna start now? Like we had like a guy go up and basically try and like move the band off. But see, it's a learning curve like everything we do, right? Because us
Exactly.
cats, we're older guys.
Yeah.
We've definitely learned some shit the hard way. But this was, I had a bunch of shows booked, so I'm trying to have basically like a punk show in the middle of a hockey game with a bunch of like older guys there
Yeah, that-
who wanted to watch the game, and
Yeah.
these are the guys that are like, ah, like it's
just-
big shit. They can't watch it; they need to watch it and hear it, and then they have to hear 2 dudes talk about it for half an hour. You're like, I don't get sports, man.
Oh, but you gotta remember a lot of those.
But it was
guys,
bad timing,
a lot of those
right?
guys go out to the bar though, due to the fact that their
They support their shit.
They support it, but their ladies won't allow them to watch it at home. So they're already like juiced up.
Yeah.
They're like, like I have to go deal with this elsewhere. But it's just But again, that's the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an outlet.
That's the culture of it. Like I mean, like that's the subculture of like the sports environment. Like me, like it's like I'm not a big CFL guy, but I can tell you, like, but NFL is my shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm on fantasy games all over. Like,
Yeah.
people is like, hey, it's for like sign up time. That, you know, and it's like, it gives us the opportunity to talk as much shit to each other through that season, okay, and learn more about the game, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is like, it's like, we have to kind of look into like the culture of that in a sense and
Yeah.
put it towards a music field differently from what we already have.
Oh, but
You know
yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure.
Because like I think if we can just have that niche
Yeah.
and build it with it, a lot of great things is gonna come. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we love like independence is great because you can make so much decision in a sense. You know what I mean? Like you look at like Jay over here. Jason came like he came and he's like, hey, you know, like my other buddy like Seamus, he's like, yeah, I got a friend, da, da, da," and like we're like, all right, like, and me and him we chit chatted. We were talking about just business slash music slash the culture, and
Yeah.
we chit chat for quite some time about it, and realized that we're on the same page, we're on the same wavelength. We want like changes to be made in the sense for Alberta to increase the value of it. You know what I mean? Like, and increase the value of it as in like on the entertainment size.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, where it's like, okay, like we're getting like large in population, but why are we still, I get, like, in what was the word you, like the space word, the phantom zone or whatever?
The Goldilocks
The
zone.
Goldilocks, yeah, like, you know, like why are we still
Yeah.
there?
Well, I always ask myself, like, because even like me, I'm not a competitive guy at all, but
Mhm.
no matter how you look at it, we're all throwing our names in the same hat. But the big thing is, if you really want to break it down, the nicest thing you could think for the whole scene is how can everybody win? How can everybody win? Why can't we have like the right show, like 5 different shows in 5 different spots that aren't doing the same thing?
Exactly.
But everybody's doing what worked for the other guy,
Yeah,
and that's been going on forever.
like, it's so like.
So that's a tough one.
So, like, I believe it's just more so collaboration.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
You know what I mean? Like, because like the more we can collaborate, the greater it will become.
Like
You
I
know
started
what
trying to work with everybody else.
Yeah.
Because when I was trying to do my own thing, because we kind of had our brand and we were
Yeah.
trying to do that. I think when our first place shut down, if I was smart enough to do what I'm doing now,
Mhm.
and I skipped that whole.
The other section
But
of
see,
it.
the thing is, every bump and bruise and cut you get, that's going to add. Because if I didn't do Gateway, maybe I wouldn't have had that show. Maybe I wouldn't have even got the hip hop stuff.
Yeah.
So, see, I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah,
But I mean, now taking that from here to there,
it's another step. No,
but it's crazy because you learn along the way. You build
Yeah,
contacts.
you learn a lot from your mistakes, more
Oh,
than you
you
do from your
definitely
successes,
do.
for sure.
Yeah,
But see, there was good places going when I moved though. Like, what if I was helping? What if I was doing stuff with Wonderbar? Or what if, like, say, the Aviary? Some of them places, like,
Mhm.
you know, it wasn't that I didn't want to work with anyone. It's probably a lot of people didn't even know we existed. So it took a bit to get on the map where people are like, oh, I've heard of that guy. Maybe he can throw us some bands.
Such and such,
I've
yeah.
even got another couple of places hopefully coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
But now I'm just finding the right guys for the right bars, and I'm thinking collectively I could probably do a lot because, say, if I'm having 3 shows,
Yeah.
I'm not competing with myself. I'm
Very
putting on
true.
3 totally different ones, so I'm trying to
To
get the right stuff
yeah,
in the right rooms and
the proper Rubik's cube, right? Like, I mean, just working with the layout of it, like, and you know, I mean, like building with that and stuff like that. Because like, I find that like if we don't do that, it's harder for it to like the culture to
Yeah.
grow. You know what I mean? And like, and it's not so much just like like from my perspective, not just a hip hop piece, because like but there's like when I hear that. It's funny to me when I hear like rock bands struggling. I'm like, what? It's Alberta. How is that possible? And then I have to like, like perk up and go look, and it's like, yeah, like these guys are trying to find a spot.
we all
close to the bill.
got they all got the same problem.
That's what I mean. Like that's the big
Yeah. And every show is its own entity too.
exactly.
Because I've had the experience where, and this is going back to hip hop, I had a couple that I thought were going to do really well. I was really excited about them. The
Yeah.
places I had them in, I wanted to impress them. I wanted the scene to stand up. I wanted people to come in and be balling and making the bar.
Well, yeah, like, look,
people
wow,
saying
yeah.
like, because when the one I had in my bar, I mean, I was blown away. I hadn't had a string of poorly attended.
Yeah.
This was kind of like like a VLT or something, and you hit that, and your first one, you're like, wow, I got to do this all the time.
Yeah.
But when you get into all the time, which is like as promoters and guys that have longevity and we're in for the long run,
Mm-hmm.
how many home runs are you going to get? Like a lot of times, like to keep my rep, I'm hitting the
Oh.
cash machine so much on some shows that you
Yeah.
know, you can have a whole month where you didn't make any money and you worked your day job. So it's it's not.
You talk about collaborative. You take that Northern Touch single from like the '90s. How many of those guys, as an individual, had to struggle? Bad shows in Toronto and all that stuff. But they finally, as a collective, made that music video. Probably the first Canadian hip hop video on TV. And then Chuck Lair and
Yeah.
Cardinal all got individual success after that. And if it wasn't for them, you probably wouldn't have. Like Shad being a host on CBC for a while, and
Yeah.
maybe Drake wouldn't have been as taken as seriously in the States as he is now if those people hadn't opened the doors and
Well,
built that
that's-
scene there.
Exactly, and that's what I mean, though, right? Like it's just more so like the understanding of like the magic that we have as artists, and like I mean because the promoters have to be artists also in a sense. I don't mean like artists as in like we're gonna go in the booth and spit some hot fire or whatever,
Yeah.
but artists as in like what you create.
Yeah.
Because because you're creating something out of the love for it, and obviously like if it earns money, like great, you know what I mean. But it's like that's a piece that's very very important to us. Where it's like okay, now we want to basically extend this value. We want to put a little bit more, But I find though, and it always slips a thought. It's like in a lot of the other places from the research that we did was, you have the local station that was playing the artists.
Yeah.
See, it becomes so it becomes a part of that subconsciousness in a sense, right? Whether the artist is getting one play on the radio, like every few hours, say, "Hey, here's my guy," you know what I mean?
No, that's
or
super important. though.
it comes in that play, right? And like me talking with like the DJs at times, and I always try to figure out I get the fact that it's robotized in a sense where it's like you play, this is the list that you're getting, this is how it is. But I always go back. I know in our culture, in the hip hop culture, you break the rules when it comes to playing acts.
No, for
You
sure.
know what I mean? Like
Throwing that wild card.
Exactly.
Boom.
Right? Because that's what makes it entertaining. You get to see how people react to it, but you also are very proud of your own. So it that's one of the issues where it's again, due to the lack of value of our own, we're scared to say, okay, we're gonna get it on the radio, or we're gonna play it a couple times in the bar,
No.
and see what a turnover is, and then basically utilize that, because everything stands out. You know what I mean? Based on the fact that, because again, if we can subdue our pieces, I look at for instance Atlanta, and Atlanta to me, in the early '90s resemble Alberta, in every way, it was shitty, but then they started finding their own voice, but their radio started backing them. You know what I mean? And that's what I said with this that Jay want to do is us having a wild card coming up, and where we can say, okay, you know what? Whether it's a punk band, whether it's a rock band, whether it's that, they're getting the local wise, they're getting played.
Oh yeah.
So now we can say, okay, people can listen to them freehand and just start jazzing up, because what's better than listening to your guys and okay, shit.
Yeah, well, you got me thinking now about I think nobody did that better back in the day than the reggae. Reggae scene, the old, when you read up on the old sound
Yeah.
system days, because they're champion an artist.
Exactly.
Say a Jimmy Cliff or Desmond Decker, someone put out a single, and
they
or
pump- they
even a guy
pump
like
the shit out
Judge
of
Dredd, they put on one of those nasty,
Exactly.
and they champion that song, and they make sure that it's included in with the stuff that people are expecting,
Exactly.
and
Right.
put it on that platform.
And
That's what we need.
It becomes a piece of the puzzle.
Because I think Edmonton too, not to be jumping in, but see a lot of that, and that was when I was talking about like my struggles that I had trying to get my stuff in the music rags, and I couldn't afford it and all that. I think a lot of the by and large mainstream people here too, like if they don't really dig into underground stuff, or it's not real to them unless it's on the media. So a lot of our artists, a lot of our promoters, a lot of our venues, if you don't see that in that paper, it doesn't exist to a lot of people because they don't go out of their zone
Yeah.
to find
They
it.
don't, they like that. And you know the funny thing is, like,
And who's got the money to be
when,
there?
when I was buying like the ads, like every like for the bigger shows and stuff, and I will do the ads like continuously. And I remember
There's your old
I
door.
would sit with them, and I would have a conversation with them, and they didn't have a clue of what's taking place in the city, like music wise. And I'm like, part of me was like, are you kidding me? Like,
No.
you know, and I would always tell them and say, hey, if you guys don't make sharp and basically play local music and help, that it's gonna walk past you. And when the 1 and 2 successful come out the gate, they're gonna say, hey, these assholes didn't do nothing to help.
I hear about other shows at my shows. That's another one promoters know.
Yeah.
Oh, all my buddies would be here, but they're at that show. So even though I don't follow the music rags, somehow by the end of the night I know every fucking show that's going on.
taking place.
Oh, my buddies are at this place. They're watching these guys.
Yeah.
They're gonna be here later.
Like they'll
Yes,
cut,
I'm sure they
my
are.
buddy will show up drunk and all that stuff. But it's wild though. Like I mean, like it's like even for instance, we just finished like the Carawest, and Carawest.
Oh, you got
overall,
rain on
normally,
that too. Yeah.
Like it rained, but people like I mean, a lot of people don't give a shit if it rains.
I heard that
because,
gets
like,
rocking. I drove by it.
Yeah.
There. It looked good.
it's like, all right, rain. We're used to this rain, right?
Yeah.
It's just like let's like because it's just like let's do that. But see, it's the cultural concept already. Like fuck it, rain comes. I'm not sugar. I'm not gonna melt.
Well,
I'm
something,
just gonna do it,
something
right?
like that though. You got people waiting all year for it too. I
But-
heard that's an awesome
But
festival.
that's what I mean. Like so. You know, like I end up with all these booze that I have to like jump back up.
All the red
like,
stripe.
like you know,
Going back.
and it's like, but we had to like the guys I was working with. We did like a wicked show like out of the city, and so much. At first it was like I didn't expect a lot of people to show, but it was fucking ridiculous. Like a lot of great like people to show up because there's like something different.
Did you have live bands
and
on
all
that one
that?
too?
No, we just DJs came in, like they flew in from Toronto and like one from Miami, and they came and killed it, right? Like which is like a beautiful thing. And then the cops showed up, and then like they're like, "This is a noise complaint." I was like, "What?" Like the noise complaint. But you know the funny thing about that is like I'm wearing a big mask. So this guy doesn't know who he's talking to.
Oh, shit.
I'm having like this conversation with him, and I'm like, you know, tell me into what section this is like the violation. And he's like, give me a section. I was like, that's not the right one. Like, and look, he's just like, all right, man. Like, I don't even know like exactly, but like, so I'm like, all right, let's just like instead of us going dilly
Just thought
dally
I'd swing by and
dick,
harass you a
you know what I
bit.
mean? Like, it's just like let's just like figure out like the number of decibel we can go down. You know, and he's
Yeah.
like, it's at an 8 now, right? Can you bring it down to a 5? I'm like, all right, that I can do. You know, like, and we basically worked it out that he just like laughed, right? And I was like, okay, well, at least if the neighbors call, cause like we're in the bushes. But I guess like I end up bringing out all the neighbors afterwards to come party with me till 6 in the morning. But that's a whole different
Yeah.
story.
It's
Right?
those fun haters.
Yeah.
That's why you haters, man.
But what I'm getting at is it's like it's stuff like that. When you look at that, like we only got that two day. You look at Ontario, for instance. You look at Toronto. That's their biggest money market. When Caravana hit and like Drake does the OVO Fest, it becomes you're getting 2 weeks of nothing but magnificent like festival vibe outdoors all the way through, and every business, hotel, restaurant are eating.
They all
You know,
benefit from it.
Everybody benefit, but because we're still stuck in the stupidity that we have out here, we don't look at that where we can say, okay, everybody can benefit if we just back it and properly like we promote it in a sense where it's like, hey, you got 2 days to do your madness. There's no violence. There's none of that shit going on. Enjoy the shit. Buy my beer. stay at my hotel.
Oh,
You know, like shit
exactly.
like that, right? Like it's just like
Yeah.
that's what I look forward to. You know what I mean? Like it's just like coming together and creating something magnificent.
One hand washes the other, as
Exactly,
they say. Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? But again, you know, like back to the media also have to participate in this in order to expand the scenery. You know what I mean? Like expand like whether it's the country music. Like when was the last time, for instance, on the Big Breakfast you see any artist performing?
Yeah, almost all TV has been non-existent for music. You know, it's
That's what I mean.
yeah.
I don't watch it, so I wouldn't know.
No, but what I'm getting at is like the Big Breakfast itself was set up for musicians.
Yeah, it used to be
that
once or
was-
twice a week.
That's what was the whole purpose of setting
Yeah, I've
this up.
seen a couple of clips of some of my buddies' bands from like the old days.
Exactly.
And they were doing TV spots. Like you probably remember Punched Unconscious?
Yeah.
Dana's band. I saw an old clip of them, and they were on an Edmonton TV show.
Yeah.
And he had like the 6-pack on his head, and he was
Yes,
wearing
he-
a fur coat, and
Just rocking out,
just
right?
giving her total indie rock. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was on an Edmonton show that I forget what it was called, but you could look it up. And yeah, it looked like something that they were showcasing
Yeah, like they
for people who watch TV.
they
But
were-
I mean, back then people did watch
they
TV.
were
We couldn't just
always-
YouTube, right?
they're always magnificent though, like in helping that piece because like again, it's not like the market itself has shifted so vividly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now's the time that we as a whole like should be taking advantage of the market. You know what I mean? I remember my buddy Sam, he asked us this question and it's a few years back, and he's like, okay, like you think we're prepared for the jump? And I'm like, what do you mean a jump? Like, you know, like we're driving and like this guy he's a car manager, like, you know, like he like yeah, and he's like, yeah, the jump, like, and I'm like, explain to me. And he's like, well, the city's developing and we're gonna jump from like a second tier city to a first tier city. The population's growing, downtown's being boomed, you know what I mean, all this stuff. And I'm like, you know, and I'm like, well, to me, we're always been a first tier city, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, listen, yeah, and he's kind of breaking it because he's older than me, and he's breaking down the facts to me, right? And I was like, okay, so years later, I'm seeing what he was talking about. Like, I mean, where everything, the change is so, like, it's like a wave coming in and just restructuring the whole thing.
Oh, and the new generation is
Like,
coming in too.
The whole, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we
Like,
got to
the new
reintroduce
generation,
it
all that
every
stuff.
couple of years to everybody.
So my thing was like, okay, like now I get what he's saying about like about the boom, the jump, like you know what I mean, like as entertainer, as business heads, we kind of have to be prepared for it. But at the same time, it's not just on us. You know what I mean? We need like some of the media pieces too.
Yeah.
You know, like where they're gonna be like because I find that like say for instance if the Big Breakfast have a couple guys on there, if it's still I believe it still exists.
No, I don't think they do it anymore.
Or-
Maybe on rare occasions, but it
Yeah.
used to be weekly. But I don't think they. Maybe every couple months now.
Yeah, eh?
I think they just. I think it's a money thing. You know, like you got to have a sound engineer there, and
All
you know
of
they
the
set up.
above,
So they
yeah.
probably have to add a couple salaries. So when things get lean, music seems to be the first thing to go for a lot of people.
No,
Which is-
that's
it's-
true. First one into the boat.
Which is weird, you know. Like it's like you know, like because when that comes out to me, I'm like, oh, my shoes gotta go. Like leave the music, let it be. Like
Well, you know, even for that party you were talking about, like you flew in a DJ from Miami and Toronto because flying in a band would have been too much money, right? So
that's that part, yeah. Like, but even my other partner, like that we did a show in Montreal with, like what he does, like when it comes to band, like because like he's a francophone, right? And so he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna bring a band that's in like say West Africa, right, where they speak French and
Yeah, he
so
knows,
the band,
knows the market.
yeah,
right?
a lot of time the band will be going to like from that to France, and then they're like, you'll just bring them over. But he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna bring the whole. It costs a lot for fucking flights, right? And so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna structure it differently. And we're there conversating, and he's like, you know, like, and he'll like get on the phone and talk in French. I don't speak French. I'm a Spanish cat, like, you know what I mean? But I understand what he's saying, like, yeah. So I'll like, so basically, I'll catch what he said. And he's like, yeah, there's enough, and then he'll come back and he'll tell me, he's like, there's enough talented like band guys here
Oh, there is.
that
yeah.
they can learn and they can practice together when the artists come and then deliver. And like I see that. And
Get a
I'm like,
couple of hitters and fly
Yeah.
in your main guy.
Yeah, and you know me like, and I've seen them done it, and I'm like, whoa, this is like, because like first, you know, you don't think about it. You're like, all right, let's bring everybody in, but flights cost, hotel costs, it all adds up so rapidly that by the time you're like, all right, it's, you know, like $3,000, but that $3,000 become like 11 grand
Yeah.
overnight, and they go, oh, where did this come from? And the U.S. dollars doesn't help either.
Yeah, and it gets scary now because I think, like, especially guys like us guys who've been putting on shows for so long,
Yeah.
like, after a while, you learn not to panic, but you also learn to not think something's gonna really
Like,
go well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think, oh, no problem, that'll 1,200, I'll fly those dudes in. Like, I had this cat, he's a great musician, he had a super band.
Yeah.
He came in, I had him booked for 2 shows, and one of these shows was gonna be the first one at a venue that I'd never worked with.
Oh, okay.
So the cat, he comes, he does a show before my show that I never heard about. Then he goes out to Winnipeg, does a show there, and thinks they were gonna make enough at that show to come back. So they didn't, and I lost 2 shows, and I kind of,
Yeah.
I looked dumb because I had it
Because
hyped
of
up,
the
and then
whole-
boom. So you learn that, especially when you're getting into that, that would be the smartest, man. If you're gonna bring in one guy, bring him in, bring in Bruce Springsteen, but everyone
Exactly.
else, some dudes from Edmonton can play a shit for him.
But it's a
in a
super-
perfect world.
Yeah,
a
it's
guy
just-
like that,
it's
you'd
a
have
super
that.
memorable, like, you know, and as I say, like, I worked with, for instance, Northlands. I hate Northlands. They still owe me money. God damn it. And I'm like, I'm not want to hold my mouth back. They say that they're a non-charity. They're a fucking charity and a half.
No,
They
man.
fuck you with your pants down with no Vaseline, brother. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I mean? Like, they screwed me. Like we did a Wu-Tang Clan there.
You got spit roasted
Differently
and no
from
spit.
that. Yeah, and like, it's like, you know, and it's a whole different thing. And I'm like, you know, like part of me, I'm like, fuck you, Northland, you assholes. But then they're like, we got honey. They got beehives and shit there, and I'm cool with that. You know, they're natural habitat for bees. You know what I'm saying? So part of me is like, all right, you jerks. But then the horses are going. So, you know, it just kind of like sucks at the same time, right? but what I was getting at is like the people that you say that don't come out, but always want to tell you like the sound over here. Like I remember when we were doing that show, running around paying so much fucking thousands of dollars for these guys to finally come together for their 20th anniversary. We're doing it there. You know, the mic checks are magnificent, but you have 9 guys going on a mic trying to out loud the other guy.
Oh,
And then the other night after the show was radical, it was awesome. But then like you get the Facebook guy like, oh, that sound was so bad, like I mean, like, and then you have the other guy just like, and I sit back and I watch like the positive outdrown the stupidity, because I won't say negative, I'll just say stupidity. And like, you know, like a buddy of mine, like he bought a jersey, he bought an Edmonton Oilers jersey, and like he's like, yeah, I paid, he paid what, $120 for the jersey, and he's like, now the jersey worth $20,000 because those guys signed it, right? And it was like the first thing that I got them to do, like I convinced them all to sit and sign, right? Because I'm like, yeah, like you guys are coming so far, why not? Yada yada yada. And they're like, all right, you know, they did it, and I just started laughing because I'm like, the fella that's trying to like, well, the sound wasn't the best. He's like, okay, well, fucking you do it then.
yeah.
Because like to get 9 guys in the room where the wall is pouncing, like I don't think a great sound tech cannot, you know what I mean, like adjust it like in that sense. Have a good time, enjoy the energy.
Oh, I always watch the crowd, and I tell a lot of the bands to watch the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I used to do sound for my own place because I couldn't afford to do sound. I'd never say I was a good sound guy. I'm not one of those sound techs that went to the sound school. But I couldn't afford it. Like, I couldn't afford a kitchen. I couldn't afford fucking staff half the time, so I did a lot of jobs.
You did what
But
you
when you
needed to
get,
do.
you know, say you have, and this is very rare, but you always get that one guy.
Yeah.
You know, his band's not even up there, or he's not even performing, and he's starting to ride you about, well, when I get up there. It's like when you get up there, it's going to be your voice, your band's going to have different gear, you're going to have, And then you get the guy, like, the room sounds fine, and then when he gets up, and you'll know this for hip-hop, man, what up with the mic? You know what up with the mic? You assume
You're
it doesn't
holding
work,
it.
so you're screaming into the motherfucker, covering it up, and then you turn the guy down,
Yeah.
and then they, what up with the mic?
It's funny though because like even at like what I did I was doing that at the Players Ball, and this guy's like, do you know to hold a mic? And I was like, yeah, but I'm just hating.
I had the
people.
wireless ones though,
Yeah, no,
and then
not
people start
wireless.
twisting the
Oh,
shit
yeah.
every which way because you turn them down because they assume your shit doesn't work if they don't think much of your venue. Oh, I gotta yell because he's got a shitty mic, but the speakers are out. I lost a lot of mics that way. I was bringing them back to Long and McQuaid, and Long and McQuaid, like,
Looked at
I
it.
know some guys there, so they're awesome. But, I mean,
You just have to drown them out with the floor monitors.
well, what can you do, man? But I mean, I found especially with the hip hop one, and it's funny too, because especially if you get, say, you got 4 artists up there and you got 3 mics, so there's one guy that keeps handing, but
Rotating.
they got a different voice, so there isn't a sound guy in between me and Dan here that's gonna know. Hit the Dan button, boom.
Like, yeah, like no, but that's what I mean. Like where I find that a lot of like
It's funny shit,
the hip hop acts is like they try to emulate like what they should be doing. And it's like, well, my guy did this on TV. I'm like, dude, it's not TV. Like,
Yeah.
you know, stop fucking trying to live through TV.
There's
and,
no
and
special
then bring
effects.
that. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, learn how to develop your tone.
Oh,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, learn how to, whether you're projecting your voice, all that. Like,
And
you know,
leave that backtrack at home. Too.
yeah, right. Like, you know what I mean? No, like, see, the funny thing is, like, it's like, remember Minnie Vanilli?
Oh yeah.
Like, we were talking about that a while back, and, like, those guys were so ahead of their time. Like, because didn't they get what did they get taken back from them?
They didn't even sing that though, right?
No, but they
They had.
They had like
They-
they had like a Grammy
had-
or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
Grammy
perfect.
was the one that got taken back from them, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, but everything that they were doing in the good old '80s, like late '80s, early '90s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, now came forward, where artists just be like, when they're backtrack.
Now it's cool to do that. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, you know, like I'm like, yo, y'all gotta give Minnie Vanilli props for it. Like, you know.
All they could do was blame it on the rain.
Yeah, right. Like, you know, like, you know, because you had like, was it Jessica
Simpson, Miley
Simpson, her
Cyrus, all
sister?
those
Like
ones.
Jessica, her sister got caught performing like that, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like the excuse is like, well, artists' voice get tired, and I get that.
I seen small time dudes using a backtrack here though, and
Yeah.
that's funny.
That's what I'm saying.
Like when
Like
they miss something.
yeah. Like I mean, a lot of time I'm like, well, you know what I mean, like because I get it. You will go in the studio, record it. Not a lot of time you'll remember what you're saying. Sometimes motherfuckers are higher than fuck.
Oh,
But they
yeah.
just make a
That's
great
what the backtrack's
song.
for.
Right? Like, you know, like it blows my mind, right? Like one of the, I can truly say one of the most excellent artists I've seen, and like out of every genre of music that I've seen was Twista. I went into this fucking club and he was performing, and like I thought, I'm like, hey, who's playing the Twista CD? I thought it was a DJ, and then I looked up and he's on stage, like sounding exactly like how is.
I heard that was a
yeah,
good one, right?
He was very clear, but Twista's also a very he's a legendary old school artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it comes down to those old school artists like the KRS-Ones and all that stuff, those guys have mastered it because they've done it for so long that their tone is so clever.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like band guys. Like a lot of time they'll just get in there and they know what they're doing so well
You
that
just
they
click in, yeah.
set up and like you don't have to fucking argue or ask them what they're doing. They are fucking done.
Yep,
you know
they're
what I
ready.
mean? Like and ready for action.
And the crowd sees that too.
Exactly.
You don't show up all drunk, scratching your ass, and
Yeah.
get up there and fuck up your.
Like you mean like that's why like remember the show that what was his name, the one that you did at the Needle there
R.A. Rugged Man.
yeah, the Rugged Man. That show was excellent. Like you know what I mean, like you're people wanting to mosh and shit. Like it was a very energetic fucking show. Or, you know what I mean? And like and the funny thing about it is like the guys like came with like they're like, oh shit. Already recommend skipping, and the guys that I haven't seen in ages just like popped up. It's
That's
just
good.
like-
When you see the guys you never see, you know you
Yeah.
got something.
Like I'm like, holy fuck, that's fucking dope. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just like the brilliance behind it, right? And that's where people always think that because you're a marketer, as in a promoter, you're just gonna go out, book the show, fucking sell the tickets, scratch your ass, and fucking like you mean like sit on here and roll around, do nothing, and then the show's gonna sell out. And I always say like the artists and stuff, I'm like, no, like as a promoter, like we have a lot of fucking shit that we gotta do.
And you gotta give a promoter something to work with.
Exactly.
Like if a guy sends you, oh, here's my webpage, and you're like, oh, cool, the guy's got a webpage, and the webpage says nothing but a
Yeah.
name on it. And then how do you get him on a poster? How do you make him look good? And what's sad too is sometimes like, for hip hop, one thing I can really say about Edmonton though, like some of these dudes, like the videos these guys are putting out, like you see
Agree.
videos from Concept, H-Town,
Yeah.
Brothers Grimm, like these guys are putting out videos that like, if you just showed it to someone, these guys could be from anywhere. That's one thing they're really good at.
Exactly.
But see, some artists, you go on YouTube and say you're trying to find like a cool clip so you can push their show. And if they don't have any media for a promoter to work with too, that can be
It's very, very
that
heavy.
can be a
It's-
very
it's-
tough one.
Yeah,
So when a guy can give you a lot of stuff,
The
like all
man-
the guys you were mentioning, they've been at it for a
Exactly.
long time. Like, oh, here's footage of this guy in '92. People,
Yeah,
people will
exactly.
respond to that.
Yeah, like yeah, the more the merrier, the better it is, right? And like I just find that like sometimes like I look at videos and I'm like, maybe it's because I'm just kind of like I live in like the realistic process. You know what I mean? Where I'm like don't want to see those shitty videos again.
Yeah.
But I have to respect the fact that these guys are going and it's art, and they've learned to secure it, and that's why I always try to like get there. Is like if you're a director and you have something that you can direct and you're good at it, stick to that. There's no need to fucking start rapping.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? There's no need to start. You know what I mean? You want to
Yeah.
play music? Play music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if like find something that you're good at and you can truly master, then you can come back, you know, like later on and say, okay, you know what, I can handle this also. You know, because I find that disrupt the flow of things a lot of the time.
Yeah, trying to do too many things.
Exactly, right? And then like, you know, like in the genius that you are doesn't go any further because like now people are like, this guy's not just a director, he's a rapper, but he sucks at it. And you know, like it's just like
It's like when D.D. Ramon decided he was gonna be a rapper.
fuck.
D.D.
Like,
King in the house.
yeah, like it's like yeah, like you know, like there's so much like off the time I scratch my head, I'm like, I get it.
But what's
Yes.
funny is it exists. It happened.
But you know, like you look at a guy like RZA. RZA produced, but RZA like can spit.
No,
You know
it-
what I mean? Now you look at Kanye, like people like Kanye's a legend. They're like, I think Kanye's a fucking moron. Like,
Yeah.
and differently from that, like his first project was excellent because it wasn't just him alone produced the project. He had a lot of other guys that helped produce that project. You know what I mean? Like second project, same thing. But once he started to be like, I'm gonna just do this all on, like I mean, like and fuck everybody else. Like people's like, oh, the sound pattern is great. Like to me, I'm like, no, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, but you guys are gonna say it is because you think that Kanye's gonna fight. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nas to me is excellent. You know, but Nas's album with Kanye kind of pissed me off. For instance, like you don't give me 5 song or a 7 song. Like I've been waiting for how many years for your stupid album, and now you get. You know, I'm like, I'm not going with that 7-song trend. That's not this guy. But the reason why I say that is because I've always, as a business head and as a marketer, like a promoter, like I've always been with Nas from when Nas came in the game and just brought nothing but himself
Yeah.
to the game, right?
I've heard nothing but good things about that guy.
That's what I mean.
See,
right?
Kanye, I don't know his stuff,
Yeah.
but
Like,
just being a human being on this planet right now, you've followed all the little things he's kind of done.
yeah,
So some guys, all you get is a rep. It's like sometimes if someone throws an artist or a band at you and you know the rep, but you don't know the artist, if
No.
that's a good rep, you're
no,
booking.
like don't get me wrong,
I wouldn't wanna book that dude.
The following is magnificent.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, you know what I mean, like, I don't, like, I'm like, oh, he's a legend, because it's like, they love using the term legends and diva.
Yeah.
Like, now, like, I remember when we were young,
He's
you
like
know
a
what I mean?
diva.
Your yeah,
I got
your,
diva.
your ass had to at least put out fucking a body of work to be a fucking like a legendary artist.
Yeah.
Now you put out fucking 5 hour, like 5 tracks, you're a fucking legend. You know what I mean? Like, that guy's great. He got 5 songs. He's a legend. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, it drives me nuts because I'm like, really?
Like the 50s,
Like-
one hit wonder.
Yeah, right? Like, you
A
mean
lot of
like,
that going on.
you put that on stage, and like, your 5 songs, how long are you gonna be on stage for then?
Yeah.
That's one of the issues that I find with like a lot of time guys are like, my artist is really good. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what does he have? Oh, he just got a song and then a remix of the same song and then a feature of the same song. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you want get the fuck out of here? Like, give me like, I'm not gonna have that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I will not have like the 3 of the same song. You know what I mean? I don't care how many fucking people love it. You know what I mean? That's not music to me. That's not art. That's not the vibration of it. Like, I mean, like when you're creating, like especially.
Yeah, that ain't living it.
Yeah, like, right? Like, I mean, like it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not a fucking, like, you know, like you look at a guy like Talib Kweli, for instance. Kweli put out an album every year. You know what I mean? Like, he gets a ridiculous amount of body of work. You know what I mean? Like, I can go to his show and I can sit and I can basically rock out to 3 hours of nothing but good music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what, when I'm paying my money for something, I want that value.
Well, some guys, there's like you're talking about there, because I've had a lot of shows where you almost got too many artists and everyone has a really short set.
Yeah.
That was one thing I remember talking to a lot of the guys in the hip hop scene about before, saying like, well, why do we need 8 guys doing 15 minutes when we could have a couple of groups do like at least a 20-minute or half hour?
Exactly.
Because I think that's another factor. Well, it's funny because hip hop is unique in that sense, because your live show,
Yeah.
you can have those turnovers. You're not setting up a whole band.
Yeah.
You know, this guy can pass the mic to that guy, and you got a different
a
different vibe. But I found that too, because when we're talking about getting people out,
Yeah.
if your buddies came and saw you perform last time and you did 10 minutes and they drove from the West End to, you know, say they went out to like Sherwood Park to see you,
Yeah,
and you
it's-
got 10 minutes on stage, they're not going to drive that distance
But-
again. They're going to
unless
feel
they
like they
love
get
what you're
duped.
saying.
They're like, that was $1 a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then ain't counting the minutes it took to get here.
Yeah, exactly. Right? But that's
But
what
that's
I
where
mean,
the body of
though.
work
It's
comes
about,
in,
It's
right?
about, again, you build
Yeah.
the community in the sense where it's like, guys are not just gonna be like, my friend is done. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Like, you mean, like, it's like,
No.
that shit drives me up the fucking
You
wall.
can't just buy a good beat, spit over it, and
Exactly.
be an artist. You
Yeah.
gotta live
Like,
it.
I mean, like, you have to live it. But this is why half the time I stop, like, when people say, how come you don't put me in shows anymore or whatever? Like, to me, I'm like, yeah, like, I will not deal with dumb shit. You know, in a sense, like, if you're gonna come and then you're gonna be done performing and then you're gonna leave, I don't care if you go outside and smoke a doobie.
And they wanna
a
get paid before they
cigarette,
leave.
And whatever. Like, I mean, like, but you wanna get the fuck out of here, then you know what? Then I'm not gonna put you back on a fucking, because you're not contributing to the scene, helping the artist, you're just trying to basically be a hoe. You know what I mean? You jump on where you feel the scene is gonna be,
Yeah.
and then basically when you feel like, when you're done, you run off. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, okay, you know what? Why don't we stick around, you know what I mean? Mix, mingle, create, and see what we can do.
Yeah, they gotta interact. I've had artists like that too.
Yeah.
You get one guy, and these are 2 label guys that I've worked with. You get one guy, he's on the bus,
Mhm.
on the stage, sells shit for a few minutes, back on the bus. Other fella,
Yeah.
he's just in there. People want to be around these guys, and I think a lot of these guys, they don't understand that factor, because once people feel like, man, I talked to that guy when I was getting the CD. But that's important, because people that don't do music, shows, all that stuff, that's big stuff for them. But the one guy hung out, like, closed the bar down. This is another rapper. And
Yeah.
I mean, you could feel the love in the room
It's a,
for the guy, and that's what
the
people
beauty
come
about it.
back for.
Yeah.
Oh, when you're done, we'll get to talk.
I
You know,
remember
like,
I remember in 2003, I think it was like wasn't a Rock the Bells, but it was a tour with Jay-Z, DMX, Ja Rule.
that's
It
it.
came to Calgary, and you know, and this is before the Jigga Man became bigger. Like DMX was the man, like at the moment, you know, like his albums were fantastic. Ja Rule had the singles rolling, and like DMX, he wouldn't stick around to talk to the people, but Jay-Z sticked around and like talk with everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and build relationships, and you know, just people like it, and like, all right, this guy doesn't think he's bigger than everybody else. You know what I mean?
That's how you get
And
paid.
that's the whole point of it. You have to truly like understand that you can have a conversation, whether it's with a kid or whether it's not, because like you're inspiring others. You know what I mean? But again, from our perspective, these are some of the things that we're looking for. Like I mean, like to help build the scene. You know what I mean? Like to inject goodness into the scene. You know what I mean? Like whether it's coming from the networks, and it's kind of sucks that you know what I mean the television. There's nothing like that anymore. Like the Big Breakfast or you know what I mean, where guys could just go. Whether it's because I remember. Now that I think about it, there was a night show that you could get on there at nighttime, and then in the morning. The morning was a Big Breakfast, and then the one at like it would hear at 11 o'clock. I forget what the name of it, but you know what I mean, like with local artists going on there and showcasing what they have.
Yeah, well, even Much Music back in the day.
Yeah.
Remember Rap City, Indie Street?
Yeah, like you mean, but that's what I mean. Like where like those guys have open up a different station within the station, if you know what I mean. Like before, everything was just only one. Like at 5 o'clock, Rap City comes on. At 7 o'clock, you have the indie bands.
You have
and
the Pepsi
all
Power
that.
Hour.
Yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
you knew, like all right, you just say, all right, I'm gonna sit and soak.
Oh,
like,
when I was a kid, I could watch Much Music all day.
No.
It was good programming. But if we had something like that and it was in Edmonton, kind of like what we're doing here.
Exactly.
Let's see, your friend Phil.
Like Jay- yeah, Jay.
He's taking the reins right now.
Well, it's
So he is giving something.
Well, that's
that,
the thing, right? Where it's like I mean, like it's on us to kind of like now start mixing that piece to the puzzle and start reaching out and just branding that stuff. You know what I mean? Like where it's like I find it a lot of time. You know what I mean? A guy be like, well, it's my show over here. I'm not gonna say nothing to anybody else. And
Yeah.
I mean, like and. You know what I mean? You kind of like, my sandbox. I like my sandbox. I'm just gonna hang out in
I'm
it.
playing this shitty show with some dudes. Check it out.
yeah, right. And it drives me nuts because like I'm like instead of just really communicating at times with each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of like and making things work, you know what I mean? And it's just like that again. Like when I met my man here at the Needle, he was like, "Oh, the Needle, shit! I didn't know what the fuck I was walking into." To tell you the honest truth, but it was like magnificent.
Yeah.
I still like. I mean, I have to and always will be a semi like family member of Starlight Room because I fucking worked at the Temple for 6 years.
Oh wow.
Every Wednesday, you know what I mean? We were playing music, like doing hip hop in the background. You know what I mean? It's still like I'm kind of bond to that damn building. You know what I mean? And the previous owner. Like, I mean, I see him out, I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I was actually, speaking up, I seen him on the parade on Saturday, but I was wearing my damn mask. So like, I was like calling him, and he wouldn't like turn around. I was like, I was like, hey, Starlight guy. And I was like, yo, I was like, this guy ain't gonna fucking turn around for me. I got horns on my fucking head and a mask, like, I was like, oh man, right?
Yeah, it's funny with that too, because like I find with me, because I always have my own shows. Probably Dan's always got his own shows. It's
Yeah.
hard for us guys to be at each other's shows.
There you go, right?
Half the time, the only time you'll see a promoter at a show is when a promoter quit promoting.
Right.
Like, hey, how's it going? Good. I'm not doing fucking shows anymore.
Like, that's but
But
that's
if I
the
stopped
thing.
doing shows, I'd probably make more of an effort to go to shows. Like I went to a show the other night too after my show.
Yeah.
I had one, and then I went to my friend's show because the type of show they were having,
Yeah.
punk show. I don't really have my venue for that anymore. But you still want to see the crowd. And like last night, I had a bunch of friends at Bohemia, and I really wanted to go, but I was just burnt from the weekend. There was like Ghetto Barbie, there was Brothers Grimm. It was like
Nice.
it would have been a nice
piece.
one.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to go to that one, but you get that, I work Friday, Saturday, do my shows Sunday. You're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you just want a bit of time to just like rattle your mind. And
yeah, because I don't
keep it
get a
running.
lot of sleep on the weekends either, especially because you drink coffee to make it through your show.
Yeah.
Then you get home, then you got that nasty heat, and then you got to get up and do it again.
You got to unwind. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm done selling a show, I always have to like watch a movie or something after, because
Yeah.
you can't just go from the loudness of 400 or 500 people,
Yeah, you
and
gotta unwind.
You gotta unwind, and so you go to bed. So like it really screws up your sleep pattern too.
So what all venues have you worked with?
As a renter, pretty much every venue in town, I'm sure. Like
Yeah, because you have a pretty broad spectrum. I want to get you in more. Say a little more about the Lens.
Yeah.
I blab a lot.
well, after the needle thing, I kind of took a break, and I don't really work for a room right now. I got the odd place asking me to book their brunch or do like an evening show, so I get hired to do series. I've and then when I started this management company, so I work with like K Riz and Matty Storvold.
Oh, wow.
So those are my clients right now.
You do go for the high end. We got the high end and the low end of the spectrum,
Well, like
which is good.
when you're doing those small shows, like say when it's a $10 cover and it's a 100 cap room, it's only $1,000 to work with. So if you're paying the GST and you're paying the SOCAN and you do an advertising, pay the poster guy.
No, if you play in the big leagues, you've got to come up with big. I think that's why I stayed T-ball with my promotion like as much as I could. But like, do you get a lot of stuff where it's your cash on the line, or do you have like people backing you to a degree where
Well, the needle,
saying,
like they were
"Please
paying for the shows,
please
and I was
make good
putting on.
decisions"? Because I'm almost in a situation at a place where I might get a budget, and I've never had a budget. Right, my budget was my paycheck and how the bar did last night.
Oh, did it? Yeah.
No, and I've done that way for 10 years, so I haven't, like, to be honest, no, what I'd love to tell you would be cool if, like, that casino circuit,
Yeah.
like the kind of bands they get, I would love to be in that. Like, if you could have, like, some of those old bands, like, they got, like, the Sweet coming, like, imagine to be able, like, I don't know, maybe you even had a chance to be sort of around that, but working for a place that had those old legendary
Yeah.
dudes, but you could still have nights where you did your own thing.
Mhm.
But I mean, the budgeting is so scary because for a small guy, like even the one of the metal shows I have, a band that's been around like since the late
But-
'70s.
but I think that's
of course
why-
there's a price tag on it.
I think that's why though, like it's.
But I got
always-
no backer,
It's always
right?
good to collaborate. You know what I mean, like because sometimes it's just like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you mean like, all right, I got $50, you got $50, let's throw this shit. in the pot.
No, I do that with a lot of other bars
Yeah.
too. Like there's even a girl that I work with in Calgary,
Mhm.
and we started putting our heads together because she can't be here for every show.
Exactly.
So she'll basically line something up,
Yeah.
but I'll help
And do you
promote
bring
it
up and take
locally.
care of it? Exactly.
And like if it's stuff that, say two guys both think is cool, but like I said, we spend so much time at our own shows, a lot of us guys that promote, we only see each other on weird occasions such
Yeah.
as this. Might bump each other on a night when we don't have a show.
Yeah,
and,
but that's what I mean, right? Like it's I find that, you know what I mean, like even track and field stars, for instance, no matter what, like they're competing against each other. But they always, like, at the end of the day, a lot of times they just like behind the scene, they don't.
Oh,
Yeah, they
all
train
hang out.
together and they
Yeah, like they come and they
talk
come
about
together.
diets and shit.
Exactly,
Like
right?
wrestling.
Yeah, right. Like and that's I find that like a lot of time they can be like you know what I mean, like I would talk with like other promoters in Calgary. Guys would call me like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, all right, like but because like I worked with so many cats over the years, then I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, this is such and such, and like I love talking and building with each other, you know what I mean, and seeing where we can come out together on things, you know what I mean? Whether it's
Yeah.
today or whether it's next week or whether it's longer, it's just about planning the execution of it for that matters with us.
Yeah, like going back to the guy who leaves the show right after a set, he's the first to complain about how come no one comes to my show. So
Yeah, no doubt.
if it was a quiet night and if you would have stuck around for the headliner, he's gonna remember that
Yeah.
you stuck around for his set when there was nobody in the room. So he's
Exactly.
gonna return that favor. He's gonna go pay admission to see
Right.
your show or do
That's
whatever.
exactly
Oh
what it
man,
is.
that one that rolled through Calgary, the dude from Killer Bees.
Yeah, like I know what you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah, like that killed me because like this guy, whatever happened with his Calgary show, and
Yeah. Well,
people didn't believe that there was an Edmonton show.
Yeah, Chadman fucked it up.
Okay, yeah.
No, Chadman's a moron.
No, I can.
Like, you mean like
no,
it's
but
in
see,
Calgary.
I was gonna have. I'm trying to think what's his name. I know it was from
Oh,
Killer Bees.
Yeah, I know you're talking. Like,
But the
it'll
coolest
come
thing,
back to
though-
me in a second.
The guy was such a class act that even though he knew, and I mean this, I bet you Edmonton would have loved that show if it happened.
Yeah.
But he showed up with
Yeah,
his
he was-
whole crew.
His crew, yeah.
And we had a beer and we hung out, and he was like,
Yeah, he was.
I'm sorry about the Calgary thing, but it was like I was promoting the show.
Immortal.
Immortal, yeah. But
Okay.
I had talked to him, and I was hoping my show was gonna make up for the shit.
For the yeah,
But
the
nobody here even believed that it was happening.
They, you know what?
So the only guy that showed up was him.
a lot of
and
time,
his crew.
A lot of time though, like it's like
But that was classic.
that's what happened.
They
right?
did not
I
show
remember
up.
like guys were like Twister's coming, and then Twister never came. They did that shit twice. Twister never came. The last time Twister's come, like the show wasn't sold out in the massive room that it was the one that was said. But I'm like, fuck it, Twister's there. I'm going to Twister, right? And I
I heard that was a
I
good.
had to pull my my ex girlfriend with me because like I'm like, yeah, I don't mind pulling my ex girlfriend with me. Like, it'd be like, you're gonna come and watch Twister, you know what I mean? Like,
He's here. You better take a picture.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, he's there. He's there.
You
Well,
know,
shit.
and it's just like the concept of it overall. That's how it comes down, right? Where it's just like the willingness, because like you always have people like, oh yeah, these guys are coming. Like no one believed that the fucking Wu-Tang was coming here. Like on the day off, and I'm like,
We watched the comments in that thread. It was like, which members? And then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, he's in this city on this day. There's no way he's coming. So it was.
I'm like, yeah, a lot of these guys, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like fucking, like you know.
Oh, people are always looking for
And-
excuses. Oh, I don't want to see that guy.
But the,
I was
fucked
hoping
up,
to see
but
the other
the,
guy.
but the most fucked up thing is like the day of the show, I shit you not, I'm getting called left, right, fucking center, up, down. I'm like, dudes, like you guys had your opportunity to fucking just come, like give me like easily, like oh you know people be saying this and then they're like, and I'm like you have to believe in the promoters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's part of like the culture that we have to change in a sense. And then you have the douchebags. Don't get me wrong. You have douchebag fucking promoters
Oh yeah.
that have. Like I remember a guy who's like, yeah, you know what? You should tell them this, and so you take everything that he got. Just like, and I'm like, what? Like, it is like, yeah. Like and I'm like, dude, like I get it that you just try to pop into this fucking business and then run off. Like I mean, but for real fucking guys that live in this fucking world and in this business, you can't just get up and fucking do that.
And me, like, being the type of guy that my promoting the bands I work with, like,
Yeah.
I get it all, man. Like, I keep that shit under lock and key, but I mean, for the last 10 years, I
Yeah.
pretty much hear from every band about how their other stuff goes.
That,
Because I'm one of the few people that will give them 100% of the door.
and say,
So
there
even
you
if a
go.
band, you're like, oh, we brought 30 people, sorry. It's like, well, here's your $300. The only thing that sucks is you got to pay your other guys out.
Yeah,
But-
but you have to make do with what's need to be made do.
But yeah, when you get into like shady biz,
Yeah.
there's a lot. But see, what sucks is a lot of people, when you're shooting for the stars and they're thinking, well, my show's gonna. I've kind of gotten over thinking that any of my shows are gonna do good,
Oh, yeah.
because especially with the Facebook numbers and stuff. And now that I'm working with other bars, sometimes you get the guy from the bar looking at the Facebook and being, well, there's only gonna be 9
10
people.
people, yeah.
Why are we gonna even have a show? And then you have 60 people.
Yeah.
Because some bands network differently.
But-
Like those old bands, like guys in
They
their
don't- they
50s,
don't do
like
yeah, they don't do.
they send
Facebook like
postcards to their friends.
that. Yeah, like,
We're
you know,
playing in October.
But
Come to the
that's
show.
what I mean though. Like it's like I find that the whole like the Facebook process of it. Like,
And you don't
that's-
even know who's seeing
like,
what now.
Before, like when it just came out, it was fucking relative. It was like, okay, like I got 80 people coming. Okay, at least
It was awesome
70,
when it first
like,
came out, man.
Now, like people just say, okay, sure, you know what I mean? Like, and then you don't see them.
Yeah, I've had 1,000 people attending and I get 200 people, and I've had, 7 people attending, but I get 200.
Exactly.
I'm glad they took not going off. Though.
Mm.
I can see who's going, but who's not going? Oh, he's not going.
I don't know if I want to go now.
It'd almost be cool if they, because a lot of people like, I guess as a promoter too, you look at that. That's your hype on Facebook. Who's going?
That's a
If you
part
see
of the-
200 are going,
Nah. No, but that's what I mean. Where it's like,
then they think it's going to be a party, right?
yeah, like if you gotta bank on that, and it's hilarious because today I was at GMAC downtown and I was talking with the professors down there, and like one of them was like, yeah, I'm just taking pictures for our Instagram page. I was like, what? Instagram? And she's like, yeah, you know, if you don't have Instagram, that you don't exist, right?
No, I've been trying to hook my Facebook up, but I don't know it. I don't even got a phone that does internet.
And I started laughing in the process of it, like you mean, where it's like Instagram is the new cool. Like you'd be like, is that what that shit is now? Like you mean, and she's like, oh, my little sister told me that. I saw.
I thought Twitter was the shit, but I don't follow any of it.
Yeah, like
I'm still
sometimes
stuck on
you
Facebook.
You can't.
You guys are old, man.
Like, like, yeah, this is a family member. It's a cousin. Like,
Hey,
like,
Danny.
yeah.
I saw
What
you
up,
guys.
cuz?
I was
He's,
just at.
he's also one of the player haters. You know, like that. You be hating from way back.
How way back?
Like, yeah, way back. Even his dad understand that. He's
Damn.
hating his dad even in his sack, you know? Like, that's so hateful. Like, yeah, he's rolling out. But, no, but, yeah, like, it's just like,
He just came in to show those pearly whites.
yeah, like,
We get it, we're old.
like, you know, no, but the whole process of this madness is like, you know, the net can only go so far, I tell you.
It's a double-edged sword, my brother.
It is in so much ways. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
but that's
It's so
where,
good, but it's so nasty.
like, I still, you know, I mean, I guess again, like, radio is still needed because radio need to like support the local, like, you know what I mean. Like, I remember, I seen a post that Cablitz was like losing his shit over.
See, yeah, I
And
saw that one
and I
too.
started laughing because he was so angry,
Yeah, he was mad,
and then like,
but apparently he was in, or
Well,
something. All was good.
But you said the radio guys was like, well, we play local music on our Hot Factor, right? And
Yeah.
I don't mind that process, but
Blitz was
really
hot.
and truly, it's like it's kind of like, yeah. But I get it. It's a business. They have to because they think that on the urban side of things that none of that shit exists in Alberta.
Yeah.
It's always have that negative stigma. But then they don't understand that everything worked together as a culture. Like
No.
if rock and roll is booming, that mean punk is gonna boom. That mean hip hop is gonna boom. That mean like a country's gonna boom.
Yeah,
And I'm talking about
live
the
music
city.
would boom if
Exactly.
the city would put a little.
Right? Like you mean like you look at the folk fest. What makes the folk fest continue to grow, in a sense?
Well, I think it's because they trained. There's people who grew up going there as a kid, and now they're taking their kids. So
There you
it's
go.
more of like an institution that they've built in. It doesn't matter who's playing that festival; it's going to sell
They're
out.
just gonna come out. Exactly. This guy went to the folk fest.
I went for the first time. Did
Did
I say what I said?
Well, the weather sucked both years
I
though.
said-
I feel bad for them.
The
Yeah.
place smells like an asthma attack.
It's
Waiting to happen.
Yeah, it was like, no matter how gloomy it was, like the smoke was fucking the city up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday was bad.
Yeah, like these guys were still out there. You know what I mean? And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. That's dedication.
I remember
Like,
they had some crazy ass winds. Was it last year?
oh,
Because the place I was going to, I was going up 98th,
yeah,
and there was like roofs from the shit blowing.
Fly.
Like, you're like, fuck, that thing is fucked. There was like a dust storm, and I felt bad for them. But I mean, that's I don't know if you've ever tried any outdoor festivals, but
Like,
anything where there's like variables, man, that's like.
yeah, but they
It's
have the
kinda
mountain.
scary.
They have that little hill. Where like, did you sit on the hill?
Yep.
You know,
You did, eh?
Ate the whole shit, man.
Like,
halfway through the night, people be sliding, trying to keep the fucking shit.
I bought a candle.
You bought a candle?
Yeah.
Like for what? Just to like wave across Kumbaya or like how did that
Yeah.
work?
They told me to
Yo.
buy one.
Cheaper than a lighter for the
Here
slow
at
one.
the office is spot on. Like no shit, eh? Well, like where are you going on White Ave? White Ave?
Arctic's called it.
That's live.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. I'll be there. Fuck, you know what I don't know? Maybe the afternoon.
I just want to say hi.
Like yeah.
Peace, man.
Yeah, I'll hit you up later on, Tash. Like the afternoon. You're coming to the thing though, right? Make sure you do. Well, it doesn't matter. Just come so we can chit chat. Like I haven't seen your pretty face in a while. Goodbye. My buddy I live in Calgary. I guess he's on White Ave getting drunk. Like, yeah, like That's the beauty about White Ave. You can always come to the stadium just like, all right.
That's live as fuck. Commander Green even taking a phone call.
That's
That's awesome.
No, it's just like he's just like, yeah. I'm like, what? Like, cause he called me earlier, saying he was going this way. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, stop in, so I can chit chat with you.
Was he making his way here, or? Is
No, he went the other way. He went to go get drunk. He went to go get more drunk back then because
Oh, yeah.
he's like he's here for the next I think the next 2 or 3 days.
He's gonna come back and clear up from Carol West on you.
Like, it's just like, hey, that's on that guy. Like, yeah, like whatever. Like, they have a lot of women, so he's gonna go do his business, chit chat,
Yeah.
try to see what he can get. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the middle of some artistic value here. Like, yeah, like, but honestly, like, even because because the Folk Fest they go on sale. I think just a year before, right? Like, I'm not sure how it works.
It's a couple months in advance. It's pretty
It is,
early. yeah.
right? Okay. Like, I mean, but that's been going on here in Edmonton for now quite some time.
Yeah, they got North Country. Like, they got a lot of festivals. I find two for us smaller venue dudes.
Yeah.
Summer is actually the really thinnest time of
But-
the year,
but-
unless
but-
you're running one of the big shows.
Because North Country is like that's out in Canmore, isn't it?
Well, Big Valley Jamborees in
Oh, there's
Camrose.
Big Valley and there's
Okay.
Folk Fest. There's so many.
North Country Fair is it's close to Drift Pile, which is like, and 45 minutes north of Slave Lake.
Okay.
And they had something going on just the other week, like even Pigeon Lake had something going.
Yeah, those guys always have some madness like going on. out
But I
there.
mean, the summer is tough for our smaller
It's-
room guys.
But that's what I mean, right? Like the city forces thing, like
Yeah.
which is weird because like I remember when we were doing like Tough Fest, and like me and Edmonton was at odds, like like you bastards,
Yeah.
like and then we took it out to Beaumont, and Beaumont welcomed the shit out of it.
Yeah, they
give a-
needed it.
Yeah, they did, but they didn't give a flying fuck.
They
They're
didn't
like, yeah,
have-
come on in.
They didn't have 20 festivals. Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, but it blows my mind where I'm like, okay, if little Beaumont can say, come on in, why the fuck can't you? You know what I mean? Like, it's just in the city. Like, we just wanted a day and a half to do our madness, like, and it's just like, these are the things. But that's why like, when you look at all the other shows, they're always out of the city.
Oh, and that's another thing. Like you just hit the nail on the head too when you're talking about your friend there. You mentioned the ladies and White Ave.
Yeah.
That's two things you put together. That like being a guy that ran a bar on the Ave, and not just the ladies, but I found a thing that was you're always up at odds against, and this also goes back to the dudes not showing up on time and all this shit. If people come to your show and they are there on time and it ain't happening yet,
Yeah.
I thought the only thing that was rough on the Ave was there's 6 more places to check out to decide if you're gonna go back
Back
to A. You show up at A, and if A ain't bumping, you're gonna go all the way to F.
Yeah, and just
No, and
structure it
seriously,
all over.
no, because White Ave is so convenient, right?
Yeah.
I could have someone go from 99th and hit every place all the
Along
way
the
up
way.
to 109th,
Yeah.
and then if they even make it, they get stuck in the middle somewhere,
Yeah.
but that's tough. It's tough when you have so much so close too.
So-
Like what I like about the venues I work with now,
Yeah.
both of them are a little out of the way, but at least you can keep your customers. If they get bored for 5 minutes, they can't just like
Get up and go to
it's like the old
something
kung fu movies where they're like, use the escape technique.
Yeah.
Some Wu-Tang shit right
Yeah.
there. All of a sudden they're up in a tree.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're at the Black Dog.
Yeah, something that, but that's what like you look at the Black Dog and
Yeah.
like you look at like Squires for instance. Like I remember as a fucking kid, those places still exist and they're still going strong,
They're still in there, yeah.
right? Like I mean, like it's like the name haven't changed. It's just like, and I think it's just like the culture, like the mentality culture of it. So like I find like a great spot for instance is the Trap and Grill.
That was a good spot. I think that's
Right,
done
they,
now.
it's like they like Squires from what I heard bought it.
Okay.
Like I mean, are the same people that own like they're
Like I've had people ask me, like people think I have money or something. Like, oh, why don't you start a venue there? That would be a great spot. And I'm like, I'd be, if someone was going to do something with it,
Yeah,
I'll
that
gladly.
would be help the cause because like they're renovating the name and stuff like that and keeping it. But like I was surprised though when they wanted to sell that because like but again within the live structure of it where it's like
They did have a niche market going there. They
Exactly.
could do a lot of that East Coast stuff.
Yeah, because you're doing stuff that didn't come out here. I remember like my bro's wife, like my friend Julie, like she's like, yeah, we're going to the grill. I'm like, what the fuck is the grill? And she had brought me, and she's from Newfoundland, and like her friends came in and they were playing, right? And they travel all over.
One of those wild.
Yeah, right. And like it was like a fucking hell of a show. Yeah, came in and I'm there. I'm like, all right, like fuck, and it's just like hilarious, like how different, but like same vibe you're getting.
Oh yeah, a good show's
know?
a good show, man. Like,
Yeah,
it's
and-
all about if people are having a good time.
And making it,
You know.
making it magnificently work. For them.
Like I'll even say some of those ones that they were doing at the ranch. Like I popped in on one or two because my buddies were playing there.
Yeah.
And I mean they,
No, look,
they had some good ones.
Well,
Like just when you look at the people, are the people
The-
having fun?
exactly.
You know.
But the ranch, I'm not gonna lie, like the ranch been decent in a sense.
I went to like
but
two.
also, but the ranch is fucking. The bouncers are fucking dicks.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you always have. I seen one of the bouncers beat up some young kid for no reason at all after he hacked the kid off. You know, and we're outside of the door. I'm just shaking our head like, okay, you know what I mean. And part of me, the reason why I said it, I'm like, if that's my son, I'm coming there and I'm gonna fuck your ass up, like, you know what I mean, like because
Yeah.
like they hacked on the guy. He
Yeah.
kept on pushing him and I'm like, why the fuck would he even bother? Like, you got him out already. You like the kid is young, he's walking off.
Oh,
like,
bouncers.
following him and fucking being this fucking asshole.
Yeah, bouncers are a whole other element too. Like when you get into places where it's big enough to have bouncers. Like a funny one was Union.
Yeah.
And like I'm not slamming any venues on the
I don't
radio,
give
no
a fuck.
shit.
I slammed them all. Like, I mean, no, like
Give him a
because like,
pile driver. But
you have to. You have,
Yeah,
like the
to a
reality
degree.
is like if they're fucking assholes, they're assholes.
oh, for sure.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like I don't paint candy fucking code. Like I mean, hey guys, go on there. No,
No.
the bouncers at the fucking ranch were fucking dicks. There's maybe two solid guys, and the guys inside are fucking good peoples because I know them.
Yeah.
Where, like, and I see how they work.
Yeah.
But fucking these little asshole bouncers that pig fight with kids.
Yeah, that ain't good, man.
You know what I mean? Like square up with a grown man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and this is why when you hear shit happens, you know what I mean? Half the time, like, oh my god, there's a stab. Like the part of me is like, I wonder who.
That's
like,
getting real.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know
there was
what I
no
mean?
shit like that at the one I was at. I was like, I went to the Union one. It was the one with, and I mean, they were fairly just getting cracking at having,
Like-
because I guess pawn shop and a couple of those
Yeah,
markets,
like they became
they
one.
drop real quick. So I think they picked it up. But I went to that one. It was Danzig, and he had the Doyle, the big guy from the Misfits.
Yeah.
And they did some Misfits covers, but it was funny because you got the big room, but I don't think they were ready for what the
What
crowd
was
was going to
coming,
bring.
yeah.
So you'd see some kid try and do a stage dive, and you'd basically just see the red shirts just make sure that kid
grab
got
his
all the
ass.
way back to the door. And this is like during the opener. Like they
Yeah.
had some chick dressed up like an aerobics instructor singing, and someone jumps off the stage and they just
Yeah.
it's like they got pitched right to the door, and then boom, you're out.
Yeah, it's
But at some shows you expect that, right? It's like at a hip hop show. Yes, there's gonna be someone smoking out
Smoking
weed
a-
outside. There might be a 40 or two.
Well,
Punk
see,
show,
no, but-
someone's gonna jump off the
but
stage.
that is
you
that is
know.
what like that's why
They gotta
like,
understand what they're
Snoop,
bringing in.
Snoop, for instance, you gotta give him props.
Yeah.
Because Snoop was like one of his shit like, yeah, if you kick out a guy that's smoking a weed, I'm like, I'm done. You know, like you don't kick out like a weed
Well, see,
smoker
a guy like that.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of funny to me,
Oh.
where it's like that's some real shit.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I mean, like it's like so long as you're not trying to burn anything, you know, like you do your best.
Well,
you
he's
know?
almost got like a godlike status.
Yeah,
He's like the Beatles. Like shit,
is,
like
yeah.
he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it's just like it's amazing.
If
though.
Snoop
It's
wants to
just
play
like-
with a burning joint in each ear and one in his mouth, it don't matter. He's gonna play.
but it's just like you know what I mean. But he was standing up for the fans, right?
Yeah.
It's just like yeah, like you know what I mean. Like and then the bouncers came in like from like and I guess and removed the guys that was smoking.
Oh, I seen that at punk shows too, like with some of the old bands, like
Exactly.
bands that have heavy clout. This is in Boston too. Like
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Business. They're like an old English oi band.
Yeah.
I was seeing them guys, and we were at this one place, and the bouncers were getting heavy, and like the singer Mickey Fitz, like he pretty much stopped
Straight
and
up
said,
on, yeah.
"Do you want this whole crowd? You want to fight this whole crowd?" And of course, with the "you're gonna fight this whole crowd, mate, you gotta let 'em move around a bit, you know?
Yeah.
Come on!" And of
Exactly.
course, the big pop from the crowd, and I mean,
Yeah.
That dude would probably soil in his drawers. Like you big man, but an
No.
artist can, you know.
But that's what I'm
But
saying.
bouncer
like,
etiquette, man,
but-
that bar could have got torched that night.
Exactly.
Over that shit.
Like it's, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, what
right?
happens after the show?
You have to, you have to like respect, you know, like you have to just
Well.
respect the like what's the word, the patient, like
The
like,
patrons.
There you go. Like, I mean, English is my second language, man.
Yeah.
Like or my third, like fuck,
Yeah.
like it's you know, but
The punters, that I like
Yeah,
that one. The
like-
punters, they're the ones who go to the game and watch the game.
they make things work. You know what I mean? I just don't like I like a good bouncer that can fucking conversate and say, hey, all right. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just fucking a guy that pumped out just to beat up kids.
Oh yeah, like I got
I mean?
when I was younger, I got stuck a lot of years. I was a security guard, and I
Yeah.
mean but I mean the way I am, I never got stabbed. I never got beat up. Like
No,
dude,
you
I'd just
conversate.
be like, I see what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
but it's cooler if you do it over there because I'm not
Well,
responsible
you know
for
what?
over there.
I'll tell you honestly,
But-
a lot of people that come to the bar will respect you and defend you. Like I mean, like I
Oh,
remember like
you
these
get
other
people that'll
bouncers,
defend
like,
the bar. That's
Yeah,
good.
they'll protect you in that sense because like you're a good guy to them.
Yeah.
And like and they're there, and if some idiots start like they're rather like that problem become their problem.
Oh,
They-
yeah.
Just step aside and let us deal with this. You know. what I
No,
mean?
and some
Like,
people think
you
like
know?
some people that don't go to shows don't know show etiquette.
Exactly.
And that's another funny thing I remember, like when I lived in Boston too, like that whole mosh pit shit. There wasn't etiquette there, and I heard stories about like, you know, some yahoo gets in there and decided at some hardcore show he was going to start swinging a chain around.
Yeah.
I don't think he got 2 rounds out of that, because they'd just be like big dudes, like. Because you had, like, you know, pretty
Yeah,
big
big guys,
crews and
yeah.
shit, like FSU, all this, just boom!
But,
You heard, like, a
right.
dude being, like, pretty much out, like... But, I mean, it is good. But, I mean, yeah, the bouncers, the whole...
It's just like
Everybody's
you know
gotta
what,
watch
though?
their
But
step.
that's why I also like I respect and love the needle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I go to the needle, nobody fucking bugs me. Like I mean, the homegirl that was there, like I mean, she would stop me, like, hey, give me a hug, and you know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like I would have to run up in a building with a fucking like some a bomb or anything. I was like, all right, you know what I mean? Like it was just respect and love, right?
Yeah,
and
I missed that whole
Golden
era
Star,
there.
That's what I like about that because that set the trend. It sets how your night's gonna be. You know what I mean? And,
But it's
like,
important to have people who know what they're doing in the room. You know, like it had their troubles there for sure too. But like it took a while to train staff be like, okay, like this goes on at this type of show, like the punk with stage diving. Like for the most part, a mosh pit's gonna police itself.
Yeah.
You know, when things are gonna get crazy, like you'll need somebody to enforce that.
To maintain
But for the most part, it's gonna contain itself.
Yeah.
At a folk show, you need to know you need to put down
So-
pitches of water and tables and chairs and all that kind of stuff. So like
Yeah.
it's about knowing the clientele that you're gonna bring in that
Gonna
night
have.
and then treat them like they're at
It
home.
looked like you guys had a pretty well picked staff there. Like with me, I always had my own shows, so
Yeah.
and of course everyone thought that place was probably gonna make it in the long run. It was unfortunate, but I did notice like there was guys I knew from bands and shit, so it was smartly picked of the people they had. You go in and
Yeah.
I always called them like some of the guys I hired. I tried to get like rock star bartenders, people everybody knew, like
Yeah.
because that makes people comfortable. But yeah,
Well, that's all it is. Whether they're guesses, whether they're not. Like you know, what I mean, like it's like I go to On the Rocks on Thursdays. It's Latin night. You know what I mean? Like half the motherfuckers in the building I know. Like and you know what I mean. The bouncers like I know some of them from back in the day and all that good stuff.
yeah.
And that
guys
Latin night's
that
been
you-
going for like 15 years probably.
That's
For
what
real?
I'm
I never
saying.
heard of
Like,
that.
No, it's been going quite some time.
That's some wild karaoke there.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but it's really really super.
That
dope
sounds fun.
because-
I'll hit that way
You know
one of
what I
these
mean? Like,
nights.
yeah, man. Like, it's on the Thursdays there, but the guys are good because like some of the
Oh.
bouncers used to work at the Roxy's. That was on White Avenue.
Oh,
and
I
I
heard
remember
about
we
that.
were kids. They were young bouncers, and it would be all hell of a fucking. Sometimes it'd be like, "All right, fucking hate you guys." Another night would be like, "All right, you know, like let's
Yeah.
fucking put our male testosterone to the side and fucking figure it out."
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? And you know,
Just
what I mean?
life is easier that way, man.
Exactly. We learned and we grew.
It's like,
you know,
oh yeah,
and-
shit, I forgot. I gotta hate that dude.
Yeah, yeah. It ended up to like it ended up to where it's like I mean I would see them out and if I'm eating out and like one of the buzzers like, hey, that guy got my bill. I'm out of here. Just like I was like, what? All right, fuck, I'll pay his bill, right? And it's just like, but it's just a relationship. You build good relationship, and you know, I mean, I just don't like. I mean, I never. I guess I should say as a as a business head and as a promoter, I don't like going to places and then I see negative
Yeah.
bosses at the door. That's your like meal. You know what I mean? Because now, say for instance, that guy have an older cousin and his cousin is in the lot, or he sees something.
Well, that's
Is it-
another tough one too with Edmonton too. Like, and I've said this a million times since I got here. There's, like, when you go back to say the side track or the Bronx, or you're talking
Yeah.
about the older places. Like, see a lot of these new places. Some of them aren't even gonna get to be around long enough for people to really, because you know how people love the old days.
Yeah.
It's because I think in the old days the turnover wasn't so quick. So once you get people to get to love that venue, that's when we were talking about people being like protective of the room
Exactly.
and all that stuff. Like, I don't know, it
Is
would be
it-
nice to see some things last long enough for people to truly
Should become a
appreciate
part
it
exactly
without
right?
these distractions. It's
Yeah.
like the cereal aisle, man.
Like,
You know?
yeah, I
Why you
guess.
gotta get Cheerios where now they got Cheerios that fucking, you know,
all kind of different pieces. To
now
it,
they
like,
scream when you chew them, and this one's got Pop Rocks in it, and this one's got fucking some
Yes.
super fruit you never heard of.
Yeah, give me something very simple and like you take that simplicity.
Yeah. Booster Juice start putting out cereal now.
Oh man!
No, it wouldn't
Like,
surprise me.
it's
So you
like-
believe that?
It's like
It's the
yeah,
banana
I haven't been
rama
to Booster
guava
Juice in a
gel.
good minute, but I have to like but it's true. Like there's so much like distraction in a sense.
No, and then you
right?
get dudes every time they go out, they want a completely new experience, which makes it very tough for any of the old.
My thing is like if you want a new experience, go to Vegas, and even then it's the
Yeah.
same shit old. Like, it'll send you
A
back,
new
right?
experience, go to a show with a pickle in your butt. You know?
Exactly. You know, be like,
It'll be
yeah,
dope.
you kidding me? You know, me like it's very very intense. Like, and the because like even a couple of venues, the one down the street that got burned there,
The Forge.
Forge, it was pawn shop. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like it sucks because like where the hell was I? I was on the south side when I heard like I was like, oh, it caught fire. I'm like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like because like that was one of the buildings that like as a kid like I started.
Yeah, it was Stars. It was a lot of.
Exactly.
It was a lot of venues.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the Star. Like both of those places have always been venues.
Yeah.
Like the
it-
place I had to work with there on Gateway, that wasn't always a venue. That's always nothing, and hopefully it'll
and
stay that way.
It becomes
I think.
something else.
Yeah, we were kind of, you know.
No, but honestly, that's the thing. We have to look past it and see how we can build. You know what I mean? And I mean build as in like there's so much different ways that like you know what I mean? Like it's just like it come like the subculture. Like it's just changing the culture and let people believe. Like again, being around long enough to like you know
To
what I mean?
get a rep.
to get a good rep. Like I mean like it's like
It's like
although
an artist.
although I may like I dislike some of the bouncers at the ranch. The
Yeah.
ranch has now been around. But remember, it was Barry T's back in the days.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember my buddy's sister was dancing in the fucking cage there, like, you know what I mean? Like, when we
Yeah.
went there, like, you know, and like, it's like, it was
Yeah.
fucking
That early
awesome.
'90s, late '80s hangover. That was a fun time. The Purple Onion and all that.
Yeah, like the Purple Onion came, stayed for a while, and, you know what I mean? Like, and then, like, it changed over into the point.
But see, it's weird too, cause like, you know, talking about that place, the reason they're having that is because the places that were doing that didn't get enough. And I know the city's always doing shady stuff like raising rents and all that, but I think like I got a buddy in Calgary too, and just like myself,
Yeah.
we've both kind of been chased from venue to venue to venue, and you can say rents, but a lot of it is support.
Yeah.
If the support's there, you're gonna pay your rent.
You're gonna,
It's super easy
exactly.
to say they're raising our rent and we're getting the fuck out.
But
But
that-
if you don't want to say, well, people just don't think
But
much
that's
of
what
the
I mean,
place,
though.
and they're not
Like,
coming out. You know?
No, I think it just like
But now they're tapping their
you know
money.
what I mean, but I believe that you know what I mean like I think it all like say for instance like you look at the U.S. from the hip hop perspective. No matter how much like say a West Coast artist is having an issue with an East Coast artist, right, or anywhere else, they're still a part of the same committee. Like,
Oh,
same thing with the promoters and all that stuff. So they go and they adjust this thing. If the radio's not fucking playing their shit, they basically put that on blast. In
Yeah.
a sense, right? What I'm getting at is like us being in the marketing zone and promoting shows and stuff like that. I think that we have to also look into like how can we help the the show stronger, as in like radio wise, because you can always go to CJSR. I remember back in the day, the city only had CJSR and Power 92. Like you mean,
Yeah.
like you mean, but that's one thing that I find that we need to kind of look into more to
Yeah.
see how we can like offset it, because at the end of the day, we're still a consumer on one side. You know what I mean? And if, you know, like, and if they're in our market, we have to kind of like adjust that, you know?
It's just so expensive to get that mass media push, from a commercial station like Sonic or the Bounce or whatever. So you're kind of stuck with the community ones like CKUA and CGSR, and maybe you might get lucky and be on CBC.
Yeah.
So outside of that, you really don't have much opportunity for mainstream radio, and with TV cutting it out, like it's going to cost you so much money to get that opportunity, and sure you're getting to see a bigger pie, but how relevant or what percent of the people?
But that's what I was saying, where it's like I recall like these fellas did a thing where it's kind of like the commission, the mob, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, east, west, down, south, mobsters came together and nobody knows what's what, but they put shit together and basically to the same goal.
Yeah.
But on that same bill, like, say for instance you have 5 shows, you have 10 shows, they would say, okay, you know what? We're gonna throw our money together. We're just gonna fucking
Do one
make
big-
something one
one
big,
big
but
hootenanny.
still put the different pieces to us. You know what I mean? And I find that a lot of people forget about that. Like if you coming together, that's the matrix. If you know what I mean. That's the because nobody's looking at that, but that's the goal where you can beat them. You know what I mean? Coming together. That's always been like the power that we have.
Oh, for sure.
You know
But
what I
we
mean?
got how many promoters in town?
Exactly.
Like 20 of us?
That's what I mean.
So what you're gonna
So-
get is now these 3 are gonna get together and those 4 are gonna get together.
Exactly. We
and-
all come together and make.
No, everyone will be coming together in another group.
No, but
But having a big one,
it
yeah.
can be like, it's like, why not create the ultimate pieces to the
Oh,
puzzle?
man, I wish.
You
If
know
we
what I
could
mean?
get a bunch of
Where
us
we-
together where we could all get some out of it.
Exactly, where we can utilize
And
it.
get some of that city
You know what I
money.
mean, and why not?
Cause I'm not on that radar.
You know
man.
what I mean?
Like
Because-
if I had other money than what I make, which
Yeah.
ain't much, I could do all kinds of stuff.
But that's the same thing. That's what we even talking about. Like say when the folks are protesting like the pipeline and like out in North Dakota, I'm like, the company is in business. They're not just gonna get up and like, okay, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, no, you have to be smart. You have to say, okay, there's fucking 200,000 of us here. Let's throw $20 in, and then we're gonna buy that shit and fucking destroy it. You know what I mean? Like,
That's smart,
you gotta be
yeah.
intelligently to figure out the network pieces.
Yeah.
Our goal as promoters slash business heads slash entrepreneurs is to like, okay, how can we all just come together and say, okay, you know what? For the next 12 months, we have this huge marketing pieces coming together. Okay, I got 8 shows from August to December. You got another set. You got also 10 shows. You know what I mean? The other guy got 2 shows, all that stuff. And say, okay, well,
Yeah.
if we come together and buy a set, all of us, and because within from all the commercial that I would buy, they have to, utilize that. But also, after the time I record those commercial ads here, for instance, and then I'll just send it over to them a lot of time, right? So it cuts out the other guys because we're doing it the same.
Shit, you almost need
time.
like a Edmonton gold card. You put this much in the pot at the beginning of the year, which
There you
gives
go.
guys like us something to work with,
Yeah.
so we can all make things happen, and then you can go to any show at any venue on any night. If you
We can
present
do
this
that
card,
also.
you put your,
You know what I
you
mean?
know.
Yeah, like that view ad would have been a lot more reasonable for you if you were splitting it with 2 other bars, right?
Exactly.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
But that's exactly what I mean, right?
No.
And you have your logo there, you put that there.
but it's
all
funny
that.
because when anyone presents a novel idea, someone's always gonna get on Facebook and be like, "Well, that's dumb."
No, but.
But it sounds
But
like.
but they can.
But
they
when you're
can-
thinking for
they can
everybody to
say-
get a bit, right?
Like, yeah, they can say it's dumb all day.
No.
You're on Facebook. That's dumb. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
you're talking
exactly.
shit on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to me,
Yeah.
I just look at that because like.
I'm on there about
like,
half an hour a week now. Usually, if I can keep it that way.
Yeah,
I
it's
check my
just
messages.
like a couple days off, off all that shit.
You get
like,
fished
yeah.
in, you start reading all
Yeah.
the drama. Like that's some funny shit. Like click, click, click.
I just look at a lot of things and I say shit where people like, oh, this guy, what do you mean? The word gotta be correct. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, if you want me to correct the word, bring fucking a dictionary and come sit down with me. Like, give me like, like online, I'll say whatever, but and I don't care.
I could, but I don't. I've seen, like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, like
I'm not talking about people getting their ass
No,
kicked.
I'm the real greatest.
Yeah.
I'm the real
Dude,
shittiest
oh,
speller. I can say that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't give two fuck. Like, I mean, like, I'm online. I just do shit to do because it's on fucking line.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, it's like.
I got a buddy who's like a professional, like, troll. He gets people going. It's like, I'm not a troll, I'm a mind flayer. I'm a beholder. What you gonna do?
Yeah, you just say you touch base with these guys and see what they have.
But that's where I waste my time on Facebook, is reading the drama.
Nah, it's just like, yeah, like, it's like one of the engineer. Like, he sent me a thing. He's like, yo, I'm off Facebook now. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like, what do you mean? And he's like, it just kills too much of my time. And it's like, all right.
I should start posting my shows in those drama posts.
That-
Because
you
you know
have to.
everybody's reading it, and they're like, oh, and there's a show.
Like,
Next
you-
40 comments.
No, you have to. You are like, I laugh at that shit half the time. Like, I mean, because like there's great drama, you know what I mean, and those are the dynasties we call them, like, you know, like those soap operas.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, and then there's just like, all right, this is stupid. Don't even bother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the goal at the end of the day, you know what I mean, like for us, like I should say, it's just like us understanding like the balance of it. You know what I mean? Like, and now like, you know, like how we can basically gradually approach it, because there's so much. Like, I mean, I find that again, like there's a lot of like folks that like the professors, like they're trying to figure out how the fuck they can connect their students to the community, and half the time, like, you know what I mean, half the time because students are graduating and then they're like, no work, or a moving province, right? Or something.
Yeah.
So like, you know, and it's kind of like, well, you know, like how can we help them before they get out? You
Oh,
know what I
man.
mean? And it's just like, it's utilizing the pieces that we have.
Oh yeah, like they came up with that rap program, like for getting
Yeah.
to school shit. That's right when I was graduating, so I couldn't get that.
Yeah.
I grew up in Fort McMurray, like I'm not from there.
Yeah, like it's
But
just like,
I was there, and it was funny because like the kids that were a year or two under me,
yeah.
they're coming out of school with like they're already almost got a
different
career.
firms and all, exactly, right? Like, I mean, like,
But that's an example of someone actually giving someone something to work with,
right, exactly.
not like sitting through like religion. Like that's gonna help you fucking get anywhere. Like what the fuck?
No,
You can philosophize with
like,
people
but
about some shit.
I find that every decade, you know, like back in the day, being a philosopher was like the shit.
Oh
To
yeah.
be or not to be, the
Yeah.
poets and all that shit, like, you know what I mean, the stars, this and that, like, you could philosophize the shit out of your woman. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you're the greatest.
That's what they call a Rhodes Scholar.
you know, like, now you try that shit, like, all right, get out of here. You got a job or not? Like, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
pretty
Like,
much, yeah.
you know, like, it's a different pieces to the puzzle now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like the time of like, you know, like when music didn't have like the net. Now the music have the net, it can reach everywhere in no time. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, we're in the time of like, there's no fucking CDs in people's car anymore. Like, guys that sometimes I see guys like still doing CD. I'm like, we're still in North America. Like,
I got cassettes.
I love CDs.
Yeah.
I love, like, I have my thick cases. I love, like, I look forward to buying that because I like owning shit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like now, you know what I mean? Like I go home, you have Netflix there, and if you're too little short, that Netflix is cut off.
Oh, yeah.
you don't own that shit. So because like I collect DVDs, I'm like, all right, fuck you Netflix. If you're cut
Oh,
off,
yeah.
I'll just DVD out.
You gotta
know,
call
like-
one of the kids, turn off your Netflix now.
Yeah.
We're watching a movie here.
Yeah, right. Like it's just like it's such a different like
No.
process, right?
That's another thing to be getting trouble bringing people out is it's way more expensive than it used to be to go out, and you would go out to see new bands, experience new music. But
Yeah.
now there's YouTube. I can see the indie band from Australia
Rock
for the
yeah.
first time without having to
Yeah.
go to Australia or have them come here. So the novelty kind of wears off.
Yeah, it can make a break too because, like I was saying, with trying to find like a good clip to show people,
Yeah.
like people can just be like, watch 30 seconds of one band's one of their songs,
Oh,
and chances are they're gonna hit the shittiest one. You know, oh, that sucks. I'm not gonna go, or I'm not gonna go till they're done. And that's another one about the Facebook thing when we were talking the drama.
Yeah.
One thing I find is super odd. How often do you see that many posts about a show? Nobody, like when Facebook first came out and people really wanted to be seen on there,
Yeah.
I found people were way more like, holy shit, I can't believe
That's
that
a good
show's
shit,
gonna
yeah.
be going. Like it's almost gotten to the point where I wanted to like have a couple of people out there that I'd like slip them a couple of bucks and be like, hey man, if I gave you like $5, could you say that your band had like, you know,
A great
a good
time.
time at
Yeah.
the place? Or,
Like-
but I mean, bands, a lot of people, they don't, like there's definitely a few people that
Yeah.
I've put on that, you know, they do that little write-up of, wow, we had such a great time. And I mean, it makes the band look good, it makes the bar look good, it makes, but I mean,
All
these
of the
ones,
above. Like
Yeah.
but that's going back into like
but people want money to do
The-
shit. It's
the-
like,
the-
oh, you want me to say
the
fucking
guerrilla
that was a fun
marketing.
show? How about
Yeah.
you buy me a beer, motherfucker?
like
It's pretty much like that.
yeah, the guerrilla marketing pieces.
What's in
to
it for
like
me?
you know, like where you just walk across and you know you promote it and stuff like that. But a lot of time, I guess, like to a degree, it comes down like everybody's in the same pot. You know what I mean? And the pot is being cooked, and we got to be prepared. You know what I mean? Like because like you know a lot of time again, if we're not willing to help our cause, nobody else is going to do it. You know what I mean? And bit by bit, the other generations come, and that's why what I see, like again, like I see like fucking. I remember when we, as an artist, came out. It was like, "Hey, Columbia House, so how can we get the music?" And it's like, you know, like write a little note that we sent, and then mail that shit, and he goes to Toronto and go to wherever Columbia House was.
Oh, and then send you whatever.
Yeah, right. Like that's how long it took. Like
Yeah.
then, like when you want to create your music, you gotta wait, you know, patiently, just knowing that something's coming in the mail for you to grab. Right now, it's like everything is so instant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not everything that's instant is good for you. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Takes
too
the
much-
appreciation from it, you know, like when you get mail, you're stoked to see what came in the bag from Columbia, right?
Yeah.
Or now you can just download the song, it's done in 10 seconds. You might even never listen to it, but it's in your catalog now.
Exactly,
That'd
right?
be
Like,
scary if Columbia had control of your iPod. Though. What is this shit? Come on.
like Columbia House, like you know, and I till this day I don't know what happened to them. I know that they kind of gave in like all the great
They had something going on.
Blockbuster and all the great pieces to the puzzle. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like, you know, like the Nets coming.
Yeah.
They used to have like the fucking like little stamps.
yeah.
You like peel them out
I-
when they would let you order your own shit.
when you become a member, like I mean, that's what I mean. Like it gives something, you know, what I mean, the benefit of the doubt. But again, it's like so long as we have out here the mentality where, like I mean, like of not supporting like our culture, the Alberta culture, music wise,
Yeah.
it's not going to go.
There's no air
Yeah,
in
like-
that balloon if no one wants to
Yeah.
put it in.
The labels and stuff and Columbia House and stuff like that, they didn't follow times with the internet, so they weren't, you know, they could have jumped along on download sales a lot sooner than,
Yeah.
you know, and it would have sustained them better. When you go back before Facebook was started,
Yeah.
people promoted shows before Facebook started. You know,
Yeah.
there'd be word of mouth and be
The
handbills,
guerrilla-
and there'd be
exactly.
And once Facebook started, all that went away. Not as many people posted. Nobody handbills anymore. The old school promoting has, I think it's picking up now because people are kind of tired of Facebook. But
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tricky one, but that did work back in the day. But
Yeah.
see, back then there wouldn't be so many, I guess, directions to be pulled in.
totally,
I remember one time I was in Edmonton. One of the coolest things. No, this was actually when I was in Vancouver. I remember, so I was a guy that was into punk, and I was at a stoplight. And some dude, big mohawk and the whole bit, he saw me and he just pulled up my wiper and stuck a plier. And like when I was like, just came from Alberta to Vancouver, and you don't see a lot of that. I was like, coolest thing ever. And
Yeah.
then 2 years later, the only motherfucker with a mohawk would be coming to squeegee your window. You're like, what happened to punk rock? Like, what happened to every scene, right?
Yeah, because they try to like again anything that's
But that guerrilla promoting was the thing.
But guerrilla promoting it's still needed. It's still
Yeah.
here. It still stands out when it's being done right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because like, you know, for instance, what really the city gonna do? Give you a ticket? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't me. I was never there. Maybe it's another guy. Like you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
so much different ways.
It'd almost be cool if you had like a support button for shows. That would almost be better than tickets, because a lot of people, they like that you're doing something, or they like that their friend is playing,
Yeah.
but they know they're not gonna go. It would be nice if they had like a little,
I
throw a
think
toonie
like,
at that show so the guy
Like,
can pay the artists,
go
like-
go into like download, because download have messed up like I should say streaming. You know, like back in the day, you know, you did a show, certain things from a label's perspective, you get a certain amount of startup money. Now, like I think streaming, you gotta hit like 1 million or some shit like that to really put a dent in anything.
Yeah.
Like it's such a different like piece of that puzzle now.
Mhm.
Right?
And until they started including downloads as part of sales for records, like nobody was going platinum. Very few people were going gold anymore.
Yeah.
So it really changed the business until they incorporated the internet into it.
Into it, like yeah, like it's a different, like you know, like, and well, that's what you know, I mean, like in a sense, like it's just like it's needed in the structure.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
weird
mean?
too, cause you think like if they had that, say in the sixties or seventies, would that stuff have got bigger than it was, or would it have been smaller than
Mhm.
it was? Cause you'd actually have to buy the record to hear it, like, a lot of it, unless it was on the radio. I don't know, the internet always puzzles me, but it's kind of been the best worst
Mhm.
for me. Like I probably wouldn't have, like when I started promoting, I didn't even have like MySpace. So
Mhm.
it was, but that was Red Deer. It was easier because there was a few shops. They didn't even have posts. It was like there was 5 cool shops where people went. There weren't many shows. You could put your poster in and it could hang there for 2 months and people would know you had a show.
Yeah.
Like I gave up on postering on the Ave, and it's weird because people who like cling to the, like, I used to enjoy posters too when they used to have a function.
Well, yeah.
But I've gone up the street and I've come down and seen mine being like,
Postered over, yeah.
oh, definitely.
Well, even
And-
right
and
now,
it's
like
even-
it's Fringe, you'll never get a poster up.
Oh
down
yeah,
right
those
there.
guys used to slaughter me.
Oh,
And it's
the Fringe,
funny,
yeah, but
I even
that's-
had their shows, but,
But
you,
we already know the rules of the French. You do not mess with a guy that can get 5 posters. Like that's their only time of the year. They live for that shit.
No,
like,
yeah.
I just when I see that going on, if I have any event around that time,
Yeah.
I go elsewhere to post that shit.
your poster lasts longer if you glued it to the sidewalk.
Yeah, like because they just go in. They like,
Yeah.
and there's so many. There'll be like, let's say, like the show guys. One
Oh,
side
yeah.
is theirs and all that. I'm like,
If
that's
I-
the only pieces.
If I taped a show poster to my van during Fringe and parked it somewhere,
Just
some
walk
motherfucker
up, there you
covering
go.
it up. Oh, you can poster there? Boom. Done. I thought it's cool that a lot of them made their own little thing. That
Yeah.
was sweet because it would come in and kind of take over what
It
was
just
already.
because people. That's what I mean. Those
My venue
like,
got to have some of those shows too.
There
They
you
didn't
go.
do super good, probably because they were my shows.
Where like
There
where
were some
it was
cool
going
ones.
down. Yeah, like it's like you know, like yeah, because especially now since like downtown's been fixed up,
Yeah.
like Churchill there, so everything in this mom is always White Ave is getting the galore. I think.
Yeah, they're
for the
tearing a lot
next
of old
2
shit
years.
down too, I think.
Yeah, like they're just readjusting and ripping and rebuilding, and you know, what I mean, like it's like you know, like the city is becoming a more modernized city, you know, on all levels. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So just the same thing. I say like just the same thing as they're becoming a modernized city. Us as promoters, us as business head, us as business folk have to kind of like do the same thing. Like, all right, boys, time to modernize in a sense, right? Like, come together and see how we can rebrand things.
Well, that's
and
another,
restructure.
that's another neat idea too, kind of what you were talking about.
Exactly.
Because when you think of another progressive idea is a lot of my friends, they're obsessed with this party bus idea.
Yeah.
What we need is if they actually had one and all it did was go to the different venues.
Exactly.
So maybe it could get you closer to home, or maybe it get you from one show to the other, or maybe you hop on at the beginning of the night because you know at the end maybe you're going to end up at the Rendezvous, or you might end up at
Exactly.
Avery, or if you had a place that went to 10. Like when I think
Yeah,
when we
there's
talk about the
different
city
ways.
doing something, imagine if
Exactly.
the city did something like that, and
Yeah.
that thing ran till 3. You
It's
know,
like, yeah.
get to everybody's show if you wanted to go.
Because you know the funny thing is like, for instance, I think Vancouver's bars now, for instance, their nightlife goes until 4. Now, Montreal nightlife goes until 5.
It goes-
It's like, but
That goes into the afterlife.
right, right. But it's because like another guy like friend of mine from Montreal, I actually was explaining, and he's like, it's because there's no it eliminates the late sales for booze.
Yep.
So if you're gonna get fucked up all the way till like 4 o'clock, there's no way you're gonna make. Hey, after hours, you want to come? You want to come? Sell me more booze? So the chances of you getting like down
Yeah.
doesn't exist. You just go into a bar, you're gonna get fucked up as long as you stay there. Then you're gonna go get some food, you're gonna go home. You want nothing else
Yeah.
to deal with that, right? But it's just like it was a clever, and I never thought about it like that
I
because
think a
out
lot of
here,
Europe does that too.
exactly,
Because yeah, Montreal, of course, they
like
they follow a lot of European. But I had a guy from a band, and he was telling me that.
like,
Well, I'm sure it's common knowledge, but I guess there's like some places where they let kids start drinking wine when they're like 12, 13. Because by the time they're 18,
you take,
they know that
you taste it.
they
Like,
know it's not smart to go driving around.
Well, I
They
think
get to
also if
grow
you're
up
in a
with-
bar and you're 12 years old and you see a guy puking in the bathroom or in the urinal
Yeah.
or whatever, like I'm not going to be that guy when I grow
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
I think it desensitizes you. Like I'm not going to be
You're
out of
gonna
control.
drop your Game Boy.
Yeah.
That shit ain't right.
Yeah, you're not gonna. But it's just like in the European story, even back home, for instance, like I mean, like it's like kids can buy rum for like the adults. They send them to the stores, yada yada yada. But you know better in a sense, like because you grow into it. Like your folks be like, oh, there's like the rum cakes that's made from it. Like after a while, you're like, yeah, fuck, I don't want none of that.
Yeah, you
I
already
don't want
got
to drink it.
you
None of
already
that.
got rum in your system.
Yeah, right. Like you just like the older you get, but it also helps.
It's like the
you-
dad
you're-
beers.
You're tolerant.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I find that like for a lot of folks, they're not like they've never been associated to like booze or whatever.
Yeah.
When they turn 18, 19 and start drinking, they go out and act a fool because they have no tolerance in it. Like you know what I mean? Like you
It's
have
like
to
the
go-
ad, man.
Yeah.
It's like one big aftergrad where people forget how to drink.
Yeah,
Or
they're
they never
chasing
learn.
that dragon because they've been waiting to 18 to go to the bar, and they're like, "This is what I've been waiting for. I'm going to maximize my."
Yeah, like you mean, like it's just the madness with that, right? And it's just like like nothing else come. But
Pounding glasses of hard liquor.
yeah, like
House
like
party.
I remember, like it's just like I didn't drink for years, but because like Christmas time and like when my mom's and them would celebrate, and I'd go there, like they would have like the stuff from back home, and like there's rum in it.
Yeah.
Like shit, like there's like overproof rum, like it's going in the style. Like, like it's like I remember like my uncles and all those guys like. This white rum is like so overproof you can light it on fire. I was like, what? Like he was like, all right, I won't be drinking that anytime soon. Like I mean, like it's still a passenger right. You have to chug that shit just to like I can do it, but I don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and it's like then like I mean like once I started drinking here, like I wasn't drunk. It's like that's cool.
I hardly drink now at all.
Exactly.
And see, that's what's bad with our. That's bad with our biz because we're the guys that are telling people.
Have a drink. Let's drink. And, let's sit down and have a drink together. Like you know what I mean? Like and enjoy it. Shit. But it's because like I mean a lot of time like I go in there and like I get it in if I have to.
Yeah.
I got like buddies like fucking my DJ, like 2 nights ago, and like Friday night and Saturday night. Like he's my family. I'm there like at the gate while the event was going on. I see him like in the shadow of my eyes. Then he goes missing. I realized this guy like went to my car and passed out.
Oh,
So,
no.
like, so he bought food.
He ghosted.
Yeah, he just like fucking passed right the fuck out in the back of the car with his food, and I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch, and like I didn't realize it until the morning after I dropped him off at 5 in the morning. Like, all right, gotta get up at 8. Gotta get up at 8.
No barf in there. I
Yeah.
don't.
No, he didn't barf.
I've
That's
had
the
that.
thing. He slept for about 2 hours, then he woke up back, and he was still kind of woozy. Then, but he was fine. I was
Oh,
like,
that's
you
good.
motherfucker. But he left this food like in the back of my vehicle, like spill it, and I didn't see it until like days after. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, you son, fucking bastard. But, like, you know what I mean? but like he's a guy like he'll sip, but he won't barf. You know, like he'll get fucked up, and like you know, like with the drunken walk when you're stepping really high.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love him for it because like, all right, you can handle it, but you can't handle it. You know, you have to be careful. It's just like it blows my mind though, like just like the madness behind it, and because my ass like I always like get drunk and then I'm like, all right, I'm driving you home.
Yeah.
I can't drink, like it's a different thing. So,
That's curbed my drinking, the whole driving thing.
yeah.
Yeah, because my first venue, we got a house across the street. We thought we were going to be able to stay there, and then over the years, the places I work with keep getting further. And now I'm having shit where, say, I got 3 shows going on.
Yeah.
Like if I got Hilltop, I got Rendezvous,
You have to get there.
and
yeah,
pretty
you have
soon
to
I got
go
some stuff going on at the Newcastle.
Yeah.
Those are all spread, so I can't really pop in and have a beer here and pop in and have a
Right.
beer there. Let someone buy me a shot over there, and still manage to drive around.
Yeah, you have to be careful, like in
Yeah.
that, because you're moving from place to place to deal with what you got to deal with,
Well,
right?
I think with me, like I don't know.
Then-
One thing I'm trying to do with Edmonton is I'm probably going to keep checking places out, try enough waters as I can, and then try and get the right spots for the right guys and try and do that to get things moving for a few guys anyway.
Well, it's a must, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we have to associate and break it down for the betterment, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
of the city. And like, I think we just gotta utilize like our skill, like our power that we have in a sense, meaning like the connections that we have to build on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I find that the more we can do that, the stronger it becomes. But the artist has got to understand that, like, again, we are a family, and it's going to take all of us working together to
Yeah.
truly build something. You know what I mean? Like, if they're not willing to work well with us, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen.
Well, it would be fun, like you were saying, with all us promoters getting together. Like,
Yeah.
how fun would it be once
Like,
or
if
twice a year for a bunch of us to sit down and say, well, I know these guys,
Exactly.
and if you can get those guys,
Yeah.
because I know Dan's been doing his thing a long time. He's definitely got your own crowd. I've got a crowd. Everyone's got a crowd.
Yeah.
It would be neat to kind of,
Well, we come together and we just build something.
yeah, I did
You know
something
what I
like
mean?
that one
uh,
time called Sound of the Streets.
Yeah.
And I did, it was like punk bands, plus we had like rap guys, and I think
But
we had a
that,
metal
but
band in
that's,
there.
that, like, just, that's what I mean, though, like, it's like, it doesn't kill to unite, where, like, I mean, to build something
No.
strong and make it work for everybody where the numbers come out.
It'd be nice if we could do that once a year and we could all walk out with enough that we don't lose so much during the year. Trying to do it if we.
Yeah, but like, but again, it's just a market and budgets and some of that, right? And
Yeah.
honestly, like, I think if everybody come in and just, you know what I mean, like, pitch a certain thing in, it will go a long way.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of these, like, say for instance, like even like if like you look at like the rock and roll magazines, you know what I mean? Like you look at a lot of those ones that goes right across the nations. You know what I mean? Like, well, like they print like say for instance, like we sit in January and we say, okay, our goal is to release for spring. You know what I mean? Get these things in there. Like those guys don't print until like I mean then, right? They print every like 2 months, but it stays for fucking it goes
It stays
right
current.
across the nation. You know what I mean? And so it gives you a wider appeal because people are now looking like I mean, and you're getting viewpoints like places that your ass can't be. Like in Nunavut, you're like, hey, you know what I mean? Like all the way down. But it's just to basically utilize the pieces to the puzzle. You know what I mean?
No.
And get it right. You know, like that's the one thing, right? And you know, what I mean, like, that's why I like working with like-minded folks and see what we can build together.
No, for
You know,
sure, yeah.
For all of us, you know what I'm saying? Because like that's one of the basic thing, you know. And like there's a couple other promoters as we say, I want to like sit with them and just chit chat with them about it. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with like, say for instance, if there's like fucking 10 of us and we go in and you know like Sonic. Sonic is a sister station to the Bounce or whatever that it's all collaborative.
Yeah.
So we go in and we sit. There's always ways to like there will always work
Yeah.
certain pieces to
Get the city to hire extras for us so our shows look good. Like there's people that don't.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. But the city's always like they want like it's just like it's to push that narrative. Once we are working as a unit,
Yeah.
then the narrative comes easier because we can say, look, you know, what I mean, we are here. This is the amount of us. We work in such and such. Like,
Strength in
this is
numbers,
us.
right? Like
exactly,
the system is what it is, like it or not. The only way to change the system is working within the system.
exactly.
But if we get enough people, like, I guess even what we're talking about
Yeah.
here, if we open a few minds to it, because it's funny, because whenever someone says something, the
Yeah.
city probably says, that's what that guy wants. But if you have,
they try to.
if you got thousands of people, say, getting in on a
Yeah,
thread
they try to bounce folks
sharing
around,
something.
right? And it's just like, but it's just like not to be scared of what it is. Like, I mean, like it's like it's us, because since we are individual, we're still grinding, doing what we're doing. But a lot of time, but it's like it's not pushing it the way that.
and the music is kind of the voice of the city, so.
Exactly, right?
I think they
Because a
pulled
lot
back.
of people don't think that we have the talent that we have, and we do got a lot of talent. It's just, again, the guy in the, like, with his blindfold in a car driving. You know what I mean? He's gonna crash. You know what I mean? So, like, you have, I like to call Mike the wise man over there. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, but you have a lot of wise guys that's been in the, like, work what CJ saw or seen things, understand and say, hey, you know what I mean, now we can take this even a higher notch, you know what I mean? So we can utilize all the different pieces of the puzzle. You know what I mean? It's just, again, it's just to be ready for it and see what it is. And, you know, obviously, we're gonna talk again. And
Oh,
then-
yeah.
And try to fucking.
Well, it's such a good topic, because
And
I
make it
mean, this
work.
one, whoever's in the chairs, you're gonna get, like, this topic is, it's one of those conundrums, it'll just,
Yeah.
it can keep going and going, there could be a whole station just about what we do
But
at the
like
scene,
that,
you know?
like, yeah, but
That's good.
That's, you know, I mean, again, it's just, I mean, that's what I like. I mean, like, I bank on that, because like I want the city, like, you know what I mean, to be respected in its own like craft.
No, for
But
sure,
like,
yeah.
you know, I mean, like, you know, like I look at, say, for instance, the Eskies, they'd be bringing in like big artists, but then it's like there's no local support in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, it should be, hey, we have a big artist, but we're gonna have one of our own
Yeah.
to support it.
I always say that with a lot of my shows. I always say you gotta trick people into seeing something that they need to see
Yeah,
by putting on something they're familiar with.
exactly.
That's why you get the big guy come in from Vancouver or something, and then you put that local.
Yeah.
Like, see if they were sneaking our guys onto the local stations and not saying that they're local.
Yeah.
By the time people like that song, then they turn around and be like, "That's like the old,
That's a local.
the old
exactly.
sound system dance hall shit." You
Yeah,
know, they
like,
probably
you-
play that record a bunch and then say, "Yeah, this guy's from
This
down the
is guys from
street."
here. Exactly.
When you have the hit,
You know,
right?
it's funny because that's how I remember growing up, and I grew up in rural Alberta.
Yeah.
So I used to listen to K97 when it first came on the air, and they would play bands like Darkroom, whom I've become friends with. Jim Gray, who lives in town. I
Yeah.
thought they were European because they had that weird kind of electronic synthesized sound. I was like, this is really cool stuff. They never talked about, they didn't differentiate back in the day that this is a local band or this is a band from.
Yeah, so you take it
wherever.
at face
It was just,
value.
this is a band, here's music. And they
Yeah.
represented that music because it was good music.
Yeah.
And they had lots of fans and they had albums that sold. He's still doing well from those record sales.
Well, that's why the old show posters were so good too, because you'd know the top one, you didn't know the other ones, but you wouldn't find out till you got to the show.
But they used to really support the artists too, like.
Oh,
in
for
terms of
sure,
the Local
yeah.
artists, that scene was not differentiated from, like, music was pooled together with other, you know, artists as well. So I was blown away when I grew up, you know, I came in and started a radio station, or doing a show on CJSR, and then I met Jim Gray, and he was like, yeah, I played the Darkroom. I was like, Darkroom? I was like, you from Edmonton? He says, yeah, I've lived here all my life. And I was just blown away, because he's
There's-
weird as shit. Like, he's
Yeah.
like the David Bowie of Edmonton for me. He's got a really cool.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Like, I've only really lived here for like the last 10 years, I guess,
Oh,
2008. I've been here. I always lived around here, but yeah, I missed a lot of cool stuff though. There's a lot,
But
but
these radio stations used to be much more supportive. That stuff was played alongside everything else.
it's funny how many people are still in Edmonton though. Like almost every couple of weeks, I bump into a guy who was in an old band, and a lot of them in old bands that I'd heard of. and
Well, that's what I mean, right?
they just stop.
No, because a lot of time it's like, if the ceiling's right here, and you excellently reach that ceiling,
Yeah.
and there's no, you know, breakthrough, like even like yeah, it's hard, like to get there if no one's there to help,
Yeah.
right? You know, and that's the thing. So, and if you're not gonna leave the city, you're just gonna say fuck it.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like,
It's disheartening for musicians too. You're like,
Exactly.
well, shit. I guess if I want people to come to my show, I got to stop playing shows for 5 years.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like so, but it's just like the break off. You know what I mean? The time have to change, right? Like we have to
Yeah.
force that narrative. You know what I mean? Like it's like we're in a great location. Like when you look at it all, like in the sense of like travel, it's like, well, we can just fucking Edmonton to Winnipeg and back. there's great the flat grounds. You know what I mean? Like the Monster Killer is fucking Ontario. God, I
Oh,
hate
man,
that
yeah.
drive.
I
Oh God,
I came
hate
through
that
there in the
drive.
winter, man. Coming
Oh,
back
you're-
back from Boston, because I went Boston, New York, came through Quebec.
Oh,
That
you're-
Ontario drive I was not expecting, and it was like holidays in the winter too.
Oh, you're fucking a hero. Bro.
No,
Like,
I thought I was gonna die.
Oh, you
It's
should.
the Canadian Shield thing, that whole
Yeah.
Section of just tedious driving around.
No, because it's like an hour and a half to the next gas station, and then you
Like-
get there. No, and you get there and it's fucking closed.
Yes, you gotta.
And then you're panicked.
Yeah, you have to drive and get. Oh,
Yeah.
It's just like it's brutal. Like very very.
That's
brutal.
when you start squeezing your garbage bags full of clothes and being, do I got enough
yeah,
to get through this? make
Oh,
make
yeah.
a pillow out of my flight jacket.
I made a whole day said winter. I would never drive Ontario, like northern Ontario down.
Oh,
Like,
BC's
it's-
insane too. I can't believe some guys tour during the winter.
But see, BC is like
It's
you
unpredictable.
can still see some beautiful things.
Once you
It's
get through the
unpredictable.
mountains, you're gold.
Yeah.
Then you just get rain. But
Yeah,
I've done
like-
that where I went in and it looked like fucking nice.
And then you came out.
Played
and
a show,
shit.
came back, get stuck in Kamloops for like 2.5 hours or something.
Yeah, like it's like off the top, like it's a whole different thing. I fucking jumped over deers on the dead deers on trucks hit, driving through there. Oh shit!
Fuck.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
Need that Inspector Gadget shit.
yeah, yeah,
Wheels
like,
go.
yeah, the wheels, man, the wheels. But I know, like, you all like got shit to do, and like I'm very thankful for you all for being here today.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is
no problem,
fun,
man.
man.
Like,
It was great having you here, Dan.
It's,
That's
it's
cool.
just
Good to
like,
see you again.
like the conversations and stuff like that. Like, it's just like, yeah, definitely though. Like, you know, we got to come together and make some awesome shit work.
Yeah, I'll be up for chatting more about this any old time. This is fun.
Exactly, brother. Like, I mean, like it's like, I mean, like let's like make the move, and you know, what I mean, I'm gonna come up with some more specs and you know, get in more detail with everybody, and then we'll rock and roll with that shit. Like, but again, thank you all, and this is Anything Goes. Again, yeah, it's a blessed day.
All right, and everything went. There we go.
And that's what it is. But thank you so much.
This
my
is
friend.
everything goes. and
Yes,
everything
thank
went.
you again.
Have a good
Thank
one,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Your names again?
Daniel Lenz.
Rod Gillis. And
Yes,
my man,
thank you.
Havana Green.
Not me. No, I'm not a man. I'm just right.
We know that.
Okay? Just going in there with what we know we can do, you know? And all that good stuff.
bro.
That's it. That's all.